I hope you can't hear the woodpecker in the back, but this is my new house. This is my house, and it is on 8 acres of property, kind of outside of Rochester by 25 minutes. And part of the reason for buying this much property was so that we could put up a shop. So what I'm looking at right now, or what you guys are looking at, is where the building is going to go. We got to clear out a lot of brush. I'm waiting for the excavator guy to show up here in probably 15 minutes. It is September 10th, and I'm hoping to have the barn shop operational by the end of October. So what we're going to do today, and I'm going to take you guys along for the whole thing. There'll be a whole cost breakdown and everything. We're going to work through what everything costs, what the steps are. I'm going to film the entire process, start to finish, and you guys are just going to come along with me for a full shop build out. It is a 48 by 64, so 3,072 square feet. It's going to be 16-foot walls, 1 garage door on the front center on the short wall, 8 windows, so 4 on each side, and 1 man door on the front. It's going to sit here, so this straight line drawn by the brush, we're going to clear that out, and the building will go there, so it'll be about 50 feet from the house, and then the driveway will come down and exit onto the road to the south. So should be a pretty big build. I mean, 16 feet is going to be quite a ways up there. It's going to be a nice building. I'm going to cut some drone footage of kind of the overall property, and you'll see this huge field behind my house that we do own, but it is taken up by a monstrous leach field from our septic tank. So without tearing up the leach field, I can't put a shop back there, which we didn't know when we bought the house because there are no plans in existence for the leach field somehow. So shop's gonna go up front here. I think in the end it'll be better because it's kind of private from, you know, the street, the neighbors, all that stuff. Nearest neighbor is like 250 feet, 300 feet that way probably. Their property line is kind of close, which is why the shop has to go closer to the house. But been working with the town. I've got everything I need for the permit, but I don't need a permit to clear foliage. So we're gonna start some clearing. I'll probably go in for the permit tomorrow. It should be a 1-day in and out thing based on what the guy told me. And then it's all downhill from there. Forgot to mention, the excavation company is called McManus Excavating. They're not sponsoring this or anything like that. But if you're local and you need somebody, I'm just gonna list everyone who I've used for everything, and then you can reach out and tell me about the same thing. So he should be here in a minute, and we're gonna get rolling. So he's been going for a couple hours already. Here's the entrance for reference. There's my driveway. It's on the side of the property. He's cleared out a lot. You can see him back there digging with the mini excavator. So this power line's kind of low, but what's gonna happen is we're going to bring this in flat, grade with the road. So all of this will come down. We're just gonna push the dirt over left to right. So it'll be kind of a little valley thing. And then that's because this comes up and then it comes back down when you get to my like normal yard. We'll probably use some of this for fill for the shop because we got to grade it out a little bit. Hasn't used the bucket yet. I'm sure once he's done with the excavating stuff, he will start moving dirt like that. A lot of poison ivy back here. This tree is gonna go. That bunch of trees is gonna go. All of this is gonna stay. The shop is gonna go there. So the door will be right around there, and then you will drive in like this, right through this tree, and turn right just to get to the shop entrance. And there's the house. So pretty good progress. He found some weird stuff, like pieces of what he thinks are foundation. You can see we're just piling the brush up over here, but there's been like some pretty large holes. But he's taken out a bunch of trees already, and he's taking out more over there. So I'll update you as we clear out more stuff. I think his dad's coming back to cut this tree down. We're back, day 2. You can hear him working over there. Made killer progress yesterday. I forgot to film at night because I had to go take care of some other stuff of where we ended, but I'll start with where we ended and I'll take you over to where he's at right now, and we'll kind of get a feeling for that. But he's thinking by the end of today, we will be at a point where tomorrow's just gonna be kind of skid steer stuff and moving the actual dirt, whereas today is killing a bunch of brush and clearing it so that we can actually see what we're working with. But we're at the point now where I've marked out the front wall of the shop, and he's gonna start clearing the brush around that area. And he's gonna leave about 20 feet to the west, so away from the house, for trailer parking and stuff like that. So let's walk you down the road and we'll get you to the driveway. So here's the driveway. Again, there's the house. You can tell it's clear enough that he could back his truck into it today. So we've got skid steer over here ready to go for tomorrow. This is actually pretty flat. We got to dig down. This is kind of a loamy top structure with some really loose fill dirt. So we're gonna dig down so that you don't have to come up this hill to get in the driveway. And then as we walk this way, it gets downhill again. So yeah, you can tell how soft stuff I'm stepping in right now is. But yesterday we got to about this tree. There were some down limbs here that he's moved. Built a bit of a privacy wall that will shrink, and maybe we'll just get rid of it at some point. But this is all the takedown that we've taken off of trees and brush and all that. He's taken that tree down. Let's get you in on that. Excellent. So he's working the way. To give you an idea, I'm standing where the driveway is going to be. We've cleared all this out just as extra, but the driveway is gonna run straight through where I'm standing, straight through to the road. So we're gonna you'll come in kind of at an angle, and then you'll spit out and we'll curve it a little bit over there. So this is where we're at so far. I'm gonna fly the drone over and get some footage of what he is doing. I don't wanna go over there because I don't wanna get in his way, and a lot of people aren't comfortable being on camera. I did confirm with him that he was okay to be on, that I was filming all this. So Kevin, shout out if you're watching this. Thanks for doing all this. This one guy has been doing this whole thing for the last day and now a couple hours. So pretty impressive. Mini skid steer and a mini excavator, and he's knocked this out. So we'll get some cool drone footage, and when he takes down that big tree right there, that's like the biggest tree that's got to come down for all this, and that's where the shop is going to go. So should be pretty cool once this site is opened up and we can walk the actual barn property. But right now he's just chainsawing, so he'll pick those leaves up, or those branches up, tuck them up into the woods, and then at some point maybe I'll have somebody come and take them out. the end of day 2. He's still working. It's like 5:30. I think he's trying to push this last tree down. Once he's done, I'll take you through a walkthrough of what we're looking at, but it made some pretty serious progress today. Got a ton of vines that are making this process super annoying. Also a lot of poison ivy, poison oak, but we're gonna clean this up, and then he said the big one's coming down today, so that one will come down, and I'm just gonna stay out here until it's ready to go. So this tree is leaning towards my fence. So what he's doing now is he's digging a trench to the west side of it, and then he's going to kind of weaken the west side of the structure, and then he will push the tree that way into the woods over there and not damage my fence. Day 2 is done. We've got some actually really good progress. We're hoping to start pushing some dirt around tomorrow. We got a little more clearing left to do. We're gonna start the cost breakdown now a little bit, and then we're just gonna do it as we go. So originally, to clear the property behind the shop was gonna be $18.50 because it's just brush. There's no trees back there. There's like maybe one tree to take down, and it was a pretty easy shot. It probably would have taken him a day. This is gonna take him 3 days. A lot of trees, a lot more wear on equipment. And I feel bad because I did kind of a bait and switch on him unintentionally. I didn't realize we were gonna have to put the shop here. So this clearing is gonna run me $9,050, so 9,050. And that's just to get rid of everything and make a path and kind of clear the area. Grading and gravel for the driveway. We're probably gonna need about 200 ton of stone, and obviously we gotta move a lot of dirt because it's kind of tough probably to see on camera. So I'm standing in my yard, right? That comes up quite severely, and this comes up quite severely, and then it comes down, and then it comes back up into my yard. So this is where the shop is gonna go, so we have to go flat across here, and we want to bring this down because we don't want water flowing into the shop, right? And we're going to put trailers on the side there. So this has to come down, this has to come up, this all has to come up, and that has to come down a little bit. So there's a lot of earth moving to be done, a lot of earth compacting to be done, and then on top of that, we have to bring in stone. We have to stone the pad, make all of that stuff nice and right, and then we can start doing the actual shop construction. So before the building even goes up, or before the building even starts to go up, we will be at $21,050. Big expense. This whole thing is going to be a big expense. I have the numbers for spray foam already for the building, which was cheaper than I thought, but this cancels it out, so it's okay. And then I have the numbers for the building as well, which I can run you through that while we're standing here. So 48 by 64, 1 foot eaves, one 12 foot by 14 foot door in the front, so 12 wide, 14 tall. One man door, 8 windows, 4 on each side, and then a 6-inch slab throughout the building. It's going to have radiant floor heating run through it, not actually hooked up, but the piping where the PEX run and all that. And then we're going to pre-lay spots for 3 lifts. So we have to make sure there's 6 pads that don't have any PEX running through them or rebar or anything like that, so that I can drill holes and put bolts through it and all that stuff. The building itself is going to be $64,000. The concrete is $26,500, and the PEX system that is running the floor is $10,200. I do have the option to do the PEX myself. It would save about $5 grand, and I'm gonna see how we're feeling as we get closer to that. It's kind of a time trade-off, right? Do I make money doing the business stuff, or do I spend $2 2 to 3 days out here running pecs by myself and possibly get it wrong. So I know which way I'm leaning. This is kind of one of those things, like, if you're gonna put this much money into it, you wanna make sure it's done right by professionals. I don't wanna have to dig something up, which then sets me back even farther. So that'll be the building. So that's just over 100,000 for the building. I'll put the number here. As far as what was done today, these trees are gone. I can walk up in here. It gets pretty buggy here in the afternoon, evening. It's 6:30 right now, so it's pretty dusk and the bugs like to come out. So there's his excavator. There's this hole in the ground here, but driveway is going to come right through here and again through to these trees, which will come up and out of the ground. And then we will turn. You might be able to see my concrete or my spray paint. So this is where the driveway will go. We'll come up here and we'll turn, and the shop entrance will be right there. So now that that huge tree right there is gone, which is what you saw us fell in the last clip probably of him pushing it over, this looks much more like a real space, which is kind of cool. And I kind of start to envision where things are gonna go. And then tomorrow, once all the brush is clear, we're gonna clear way back to there also, just to get some, you know, more open space to the house. You'll really be able to see the. I don't know when we're starting the actual grading. I'm assuming once they're ready to pull the trigger, I would hope it's pretty quick. It is September 11th. The contractor for the shop said that we should be able to party on the beginning of October, or early October is what he said. So if a building is up here and concrete is poured by the end of October, I'll be ecstatic. That'll be such a huge step in the right direction. But I'm gonna stop babbling. I'll pick you guys up tomorrow. I should be around most of the day while he's working, and we can carry on with the progress, and tomorrow it should really start to come together as far as site clearing goes. Day 3, really the end of day 3. He's out here skid steering. It looks very different now than it did this morning. Just a quick update on the day. I paid the deposit for the shop and asked for an updated timeline, which originally was the beginning of October. Other people apparently are waiting to secure financing or whatever. So our timeline has now moved up to the end of September, which it is September 12th today. So, you know, halfway through September is this weekend, and then the end of September gets here real quick. So really the holdup is going to be the trusses. He says sometimes it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get trusses built, but we will see. I'm not in, like, I don't need it here tomorrow. I also need to secure some funding for a part of the build, so it shouldn't be an issue, but it's just another thing. Like, I got to go take care of it next week. As far as site prep, so he's doing the grading. Really the work that needs to be done on the shop and driveway portion is going to be done today. I'm not actually going to be here tomorrow. I've got to go to New Jersey to pick a car up. So end of today, really the barn site prep should be done. So this is what we're looking at now. We've got pretty flat setup. He's still working over there, but this has all been smoothed out. What you can't see is it grades down pretty hard over there. So we're gonna remove some fill dirt from here over there. We'll take some of this fill dirt, move it over there. But I mean, if you can't picture it, so that's the side of my house. There was a tree and the corner of the brush was right there that we had talked about. So kind of where that, right there is the corner of the shop. So if you remember, there was a tree there, there was a bunch of brush. This has all been cleared out. There's a bunch of garbage that I guess people threw in here years ago that we're gonna get rid of, but this is how we're looking. He's crushing it today. He's been skid steering all day. I'll do a walkthrough at the end of the day once he leaves to give you an idea of, you know, how it looks. And then tomorrow when I get back from New Jersey in the afternoon, I'll come out here with a camera. If he did any extra work, I'll pick it up. I have been slacking a bit. I think the last footage I think I filmed was day 4. Today is day 7, 7th day of him doing work. But it's been about a week, just over. It's Tuesday. He started last Monday. So I'm gonna give you guys quite a solid update. So we have the driveway coming in. He has cut into this hill a ton. That's probably 2 to 3 feet. And then the pad is flat. So I'll take you over. You can see the stakes. So this will be the close corner to the house. It is 50 feet from the sidewall. And then we go 48 feet over. So that over there is the other side. That's gonna be the center. So the door will kind of take up this space here. 14-foot wide driveway up and out. And then we go 64 feet back. So here's the front post, this middle post, and then the rear post is back there. So quite large. Obviously we're gonna fill it with stuff super quick just because that's how these things work. But let me take you to the other end on the driveway. There's a squirrel running through the brush over there. So driveway side, Frontier came today because they provide my neighbor's internet. And they finally raised up the internet lines so that we can get dump trucks in here. Because tomorrow we are bringing in gravel. So estimate is about 200 ton of stone, which is a lot of stone. My buddy Wolfie did a similar sized pad and driveway, but he was on like super wet land. So we had to use 850 tons of stone. So I'm really hoping we don't have to do that because the cost will like skyrocket if that's the case. But we've got now probably 14 feet of overhead clearance to the wires over the driveway. And we opened up the width. So let me turn you around. This is the driveway now to the street. So we pushed this berm back. It used to be about here and now it's pushed over. You can see here's our well that we don't use, but this used to be the well for the house that used to be here. And then it never got good water pressure, so they just stopped using it. But this comes down here. Obviously this is quite a step up. It's like 8 inches down from the road. But once we bring the gravel in, it'll sit flush. And that way it doesn't get washed out into the road if you built it up and down. But he literally just electrical taped the wire up to the other wire. But you know, whatever, it's not my wire, so. This is good, this is wide. Now I can back a trailer in with no issues. And then we are debating either putting gravel here for trailer parking or graveling that entire front section just so I can park trailers there. The original plan was to put them between the shop and the trees, but the shop is wider than we anticipated, so we don't have the space to do that anymore. My other thought is I could potentially swing them up here and park the trailers up here, but we have to bring that down to grade where This is already flat and it's out of the way, which is nice, and I could most definitely put 2 trailers wide in there and it wouldn't be in the way of anything. So, but tomorrow we've got gravel, so we'll have some good drone footage. The drone footage for the last few days, it's been tough to like capture anything meaningful because from the sky it just looks like he's pushing dirt around and you can't see any grade changes or anything like that. So I haven't really captured anything since Sunday, but today's Tuesday. But tomorrow when they're bringing gravel in, I'm gonna be home and I'll be flying the drone and you'll watch this whole thing fill out. Driveway will appear. He's gonna be moving stuff with the skid steer because they're just gonna come and dump it. They're not gonna backfill it where they drive backwards and dump gravel. If they do, that would be absolutely sick, but Okay, I'm gonna fill this in with some drone footage because I didn't take a lot. Yesterday I took, some of them bringing in gravel. I got some good shots. But site prep is done, and I've decided I'm going to make this one video including putting the building up. So I'm gonna show you the driveway now. I put the cars over here. I got my trailer back. The truck parks over here now. So my driveway is very empty, which is kind of nice for once. I'll walk you through all this, and then the next thing will be the trusses, which I'm told are about a week out. So we'll have a week of calmness around here, and then we'll start putting the building up, maybe. It is the 19th, yeah, September 19th. So yeah, should be next week, but let's get to overview of where we're at. So we ended up going with a 14-foot wide driveway. Typical is 12, so it's a foot wider on either side, or 2 feet on one side, whatever. It's a foot wider, which is nice when I'm backing in a trailer because I don't have the swing room up front with that hedgerow way over there. So backing in a trailer is super easy. There you can see the 20-foot enclosed with both Miatas. So the blue one is the street car and the red one is the future race car. But we'll get to that at some point. And then there's all this space and then my truck. So you can just see the size of the shop. Actually, you can make a pretty good distinction of the size of the shop just by where they stopped the gravel. So my truck is, probably 6-7 feet wide. And there's this like little spot here, which is probably where the truck will live anyways. And then the shop will run from here over to there, just 2 feet shy of either side because there's 2 feet of extra gravel, front, side, and rear of where the shop will be. So door here, if you can picture it, and then we'll come back. This whole pad will be building, and this will all be parking. So we intentionally brought in more gravel instead of just having the driveway come straight and straight. Brought in an extra about 35 tons of gravel just to make this parking pad well worth the cost in my opinion. But now we've got plenty of parking. This is all flat and prepped, and then the next thing that they're going to do is dig down every 4 feet or every 8 feet for posts. So there will just be a bunch of holes here, and they'll put the posts up and then they'll put the trusses up. Big shout out to Kevin. If you're local to Rochester and you need excavating work done, he was killer. We're kind of south of Rochester by like 25-30 minutes. So I don't know how far north he goes, but if you're around this area, then I would recommend him highly. So yeah, so that's it for Kevin. Next up is going to be the builder, who is Warren Zimmerman out of Penn. Time for part 2, and it's been exactly a week. So it's Thursday the 26th, and as you can see behind me, there's a bunch of equipment here, and actually a day early the trusses are here. So let's kind of go over what we're going to do tomorrow that I'll capture on the drone. I've got drone footage today of them dropping all this stuff off, and then tomorrow I'll get drone footage of them working, and we'll do a recap afterwards. So here's our trusses. These are 48 feet. And when they dropped it, it totally dug into the yard, which is fine. But 48 feet across, so that will go up and over this way, and it'll be peaked. The peak will run down like along with the house, but perpendicular to that peak. So peak will run that way, 48 feet across, 64 feet back. These are very large, kind of gives you a scale for what we're working with. This is me compared to a truss, so pretty big. We've got the laminated uprights there, which are 3 2x6s laminated together. There's some over there, I'll show you. Pallets of 2x4s. Here's a pallet of 2x4s. That wrapped bag, or wrapped pallet, is a bunch of 2x4s. And then here, it's a mixture of like 2x8s and 2x4s and stuff like that. I think some of this stuff is what they use to frame the garage door with. There's some pressure treated stuff there that I believe goes around the base. But here's another set of laminated 2x6s, so I'll show you what that looks like. So instead of, this is deceiving, these actually run the entire length to the other side. So these are 16 feet tall, well, more than 16 feet plus 44 inches, whatever that works out to be, because they get buried 44 inches in the ground. So as you can see, they are 3 boards stacked on top of each other and laminated together, and apparently that makes it stronger. It's apparently equivalent to an 8x8. It is up to code. I believe it is more than code, which is fine by me. We do get snow loads and stuff up here, so we want to be, sure the building is strong enough. As far as equipment goes, we've got this skid steer here. We've got this, whatever you want to call it, dyno lift. It's the high boom. Those things will extend out. This is what they will put the trusses up with, and it sounds like it has rod knock. We've got a post hole digger, which will go onto the case skid steer there. This is what they'll be using tomorrow to drill all the footing holes around the perimeter. And then there's a bucket over here, mini excavator over there, and then that's it for equipment. They'll be here at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and they're gonna start digging the footing holes. I have to have the footing holes inspected for proper depth. So he's telling me that the inspector has to be here at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So they're gonna take 3 hours to drill this perimeter of posts. That's the plan for tomorrow. I will be here in the morning, but again, I can't film them up close, so I'm really just flying the drone around. A lot of this footage is gonna be drone stuff, which I think looks cooler. It's kind of more satisfying, but there's not gonna be much on the ground footage besides when they're not working. So tomorrow in the morning, I'll catch them drilling all the holes, and then I'm gone for the afternoon, but Saturday I'll come out here and give you guys a catch up on where we left off and what the plan is for Monday. But I'm standing in the form that is my building. It's a little deceiving. This is not the corner of the building. This line here made by the string is the corner, so I'm gonna try not to step on it, but that's the corner. Shoots over there, same thing. This shoots up there, it's kind of hard to see. Shoots up to there, and they measured it all out today, and it's a couple feet shy of the back of the house, but it is dead nuts parallel to the front of the house. They measured halfway down the house, and then they set their post halfway down the house and measured all the way over here. So if it's off, it's nothing you can see by the human eye. When I tell you these guys move quick, I thought they were just gonna dig holes yesterday. They dug all the holes by 11 o'clock in the morning. They put these concrete pedestals in the ground and also some just like regular concrete, and then put the posts on top of them. And I swear it was 10 minutes. I turned around, they had set 3 new posts up. And then the back 3, because they're the back wall, because they're the biggest, took the longest. So I'll show you what they've done so far. You guys kind of saw with the drone footage. So we've got the 2 side walls here and there, and then we have the rear wall. So you can see the height, that's like 24 feet. These are 16 feet. It's gonna be a tall building. There are no posts up front, if you'll notice. So that's intentional for now, because they need to drive this thing in with trusses next week. And they're gonna drive in and they're gonna work from the back forward. So they left all these holes undug. They didn't put any posts in here because they are just waiting to do everything up, like the rest of the building, and then they'll do the front wall last, just so it's not in the way. Here's a better look at these boards. You can see they are triple laminated, so it's 1, 2, 3. Each one of these is sealed individually, like pressure treated and sealed, and then combined together. These look like laminated. They're not nailed together, but they're like bonded together. And then they're just in the ground, in dirt. Some people had recommended post tubes, like they're plastic tubes that go around to prevent from rot. Talked to the builder who has been doing this for 40 years. And he said in his 40 years, even on the buildings he built back in the 80s and 90s, so 30, 40 years, they are all still, they haven't rotted out yet. So 40 years from now, if I have to replace some, because you can replace them afterwards, that won't be the end of the world. So we're just gonna run it as is. He thinks the post covers can lead to rot because they capture water instead of letting it drain. So that's what we're doing. Okay, well, it started raining, so we're gonna make this quick. But Monday they're coming back and they're gonna do the rear girder, or the rear whatever truss piece, and then they're gonna put all the slatting up, so all these 2x4s will come up the wall. Tuesday they're gonna come and do the rest of the trusses forward, and then probably Wednesday they'll do the front posts. Metal gets here Monday for the siding, so I think by Friday, so a week from yesterday, it will look like a barn. We decided 14x14 garage door, and the man door will be black, the garage door will be black, the windows will be black, the window frames will be black. Charcoal siding, if I haven't said it already, and then black wainscoting, black trim, and a black roof. So it will look sick, I think. I'm probably gonna do some exterior lighting when we do the wiring, but I gotta call National Grid and figure out the power situation of like, what pole should I trench to? Because there's a pole right there that our house gets power off of currently, so I might be able to just trench to that. And I think we're gonna do some other house mods while we're doing this, but yeah, but can I just trench to that pole and tap it in, or can I pick it up where it runs over here and I won't have to trench as far? Would be cool. Way less wire, but I'm not sure how that all works. So but yeah, power will come in right here. Box, my plan is to have the utility box just right here on the wall. That way it's just straight shot out. But we can do all that after concrete's poured, because you come up on the outside with the meter and then you go in. So yeah, we'll update you guys. Well, the next stuff you'll see is more drone footage of them doing the side slatting, and then I'll pick you up once they're done with that, and then trusses will be the day after. So I'm getting wet, I'm going inside. See you guys in a bit. So as you can tell by the drone footage, I did not get any today while they were working on the building. I was too busy working on the race car, trying to get it ready for MiataCon. I did a bunch of quick release stuff on it today. So the front bumper is quick release, the trunk is quick release open, it's switch to start key, or keyless switch to start. So we don't have to have a key for it anymore, and I can take the front end apart to load it onto a trailer in like 40 seconds. But that does not matter for this video. That's why there's no drone footage of them working, and the drone footage that you've seen is just me flying around literally right after I take this video. I'm gonna fly the drone around just so you guys can get a perspective of it from the outside. They put this upper support beam on, which I believe is what he was talking about. I understood it as the rear truss, but this is up and this is like perfectly flat. Everything here, like you could probably put a square on any single one of these and it would be spot on. You can see they have spots where they will fix all of the trusses up on the roof. I believe it's 4 feet between each truss. And then obviously they have the end truss and the front truss. All the ladder bracing is done, front or sides and rear. They obviously have not done the front yet. But tomorrow they'll come in and I believe they will start hanging all the trusses. So I don't know what comes after trusses. I would think the front wall and then the sheet metal. Seeing as it took them a day to do 3 walls, it should be pretty quick for them to do the front wall, whether they do that tomorrow or they do that on Wednesday. Today's Monday. But I think by Friday, we're gonna have the metal on the building. So we will obviously see how that goes. There's a sort of roof over my head. So we got all the trusses installed today, and by we, I mean I did nothing because I'm not working on this, they're doing this for me. But we got all the trusses installed, so I'll flip you around. The trusses are all in. The guy was literally just walking down the center beam way up top. It's 24 feet up there, just for reference, with no safety gear or anything, but he looked more balanced than I am just walking on flat ground, so it was kind of cool. We dug all the uprights for the front facing wall and put all the posts in so they're set up on top, and this is just temporary bracing until they put like that skirt around the bottom, which will probably be tomorrow. Still got to fill in the holes. They got to do the ladder bracing up the front, and then this is extra wide, so these are 8 feet on center here, and then this is probably a little over 14 feet without measuring it, but the door that is going to go here is 14 feet, so it's 14 by 14 square. They will do a header board across the top, and then they'll brace on the inside when they put the door in. But man door, I'm gonna put right there, kind of in that opening, I think. That way it's, you know, close to the front door, doesn't take up a bunch of wall space for a workbench if I want it. And then there will be no windows here. There will now be 3 windows on the side, on each side, and then we're gonna put 2 windows on the back. It's not gonna be a lot of sunlight coming through here. So I wanted 2 windows on the back, that way I can look out over the backyard, or if I want to hunt out the back window, I can do that. And then we've got 3 windows over here, so we'll get a lot of morning natural light in the building, which is going to be very dark inside until we get lights. So today's Tuesday, October 1st. Tomorrow they should be doing the ceiling, like the roof itself. I'll show you the material over there in a second. It's probably doing that tomorrow. I don't know if they're gonna start the walls tomorrow. I know they have to do like the ladder bracing stuff up here first, but either tomorrow night or Thursday, I would expect they have it all walled in with like the metal sheeting. And then they have like little stuff to finish up, like doors, door framing, really door framing, windows, garage door installation, stuff like that. And then he said they're gone next Thursday and Friday, so a week from this Thursday, which is going to be my chance to start roughing in the electric. So yeah, tomorrow it'll probably be dark in here now. It's crazy watching these guys work, but the drone footage is super cool. Let me show you the roof material. It's here, so I'm assuming it's next on the agenda. Best color ever, black. Roof, again, is going to be black. The trim is going to be black. The windows and garage door are going to be black. The man door shows up just primed, so we'll be painting that black. And then the wainscoting, which is that kind of, I think it's like 3 or 4 feet high perimeter around the base, is also going to be black. And then the building will be charcoal gray for the rest of it. But that's enough for today's update. Cut to tomorrow's drone footage if I'm around to capture it. And it's my anniversary, so I gotta play a little safe. But tomorrow, yeah, maybe we'll have a roof tomorrow. As you saw in the drone footage, we now have a roof with, it's currently open, but it will have a huge ridge vent going down the center of it. I talked to him about a vapor barrier, if it's required or not, or if it's beneficial or not. So basically a piece of plastic between the metal roof and the cross bracing that they put up there. And he said we don't need it. And in his 40 years of building pole barns, he's never had a rain issue inside. So what happens with these is you get this cold air on the outside and then warm air on the inside, and it creates condensation and then will rain out. It won't be a problem with this, or should not be a problem with this, because we're going to be doing a ceiling here at 16 feet. And then this top section will be so ventilated, both with end vents, ridge vent, and then there's going to be venting down the side under the eave, that the air should not really be that different inside the roof as it is outside of the roof. And we're going to be putting 17 inches of blow-in cellulose above the ceiling, so that there should not really be any heat getting out, any reasonable heat getting up that would affect the temperature in that, we'll call it the attic. So he did say if there are any issues in the future, he will come back and make it right, which would be tearing off the roof and putting a vapor barrier down, but he's never had a problem. So you know, I'm hoping he's right, and I'm trusting his judgment on this because he's the professional here. So they've started doing soffitting, so I'll turn the camera around in a second and show you. So they started the soffits, and it ends right about there. I'm assuming tomorrow they'll come back and run the rest of the way. It's probably super tedious of just cutting a ton of those little pieces of the, you know, black trim to fill that out. And then I think that edge sheeting is gonna go on the plywood that's over the top once they've done the soffit. So tomorrow morning we're gonna do windows, and I'm gonna try and evenly space the 3 out on this side, whether that's like one kind of there, one there, and then one there. So like just on the right side of that beam, centered on the building, and then the left side of that beam. I'm gonna tape measure it out right now and see what we feel. It'll be the same thing on that side. I just want, when you seal it up from the outside, I want it to look symmetrical. And then the back is just 2 windows, so I think I'm gonna put one right there and one in the same spot right over there. If you put them in the center, they'll be too close. I might butt them up against the 8x8 or the 6x6 posts so that they're kind of pushed in. Because you gotta remember, you're not gonna see these posts when the walls are up. So you have to envision it as if it is a clean slate wall where you'd have the windows. be looking without kind of looking askew. And then obviously the garage door on the front is centered, and then the man door is going to be just to the right of it if you're looking at the building. I'm not entirely sure where, probably split the difference of the wall as much as possible, but that way it's closer to the house, and if we ever do put a walkway to the house, I'm not walking across a driveway to get to the walkway. But here's my doggy saying hi. Yeah, so I'll pick you guys up tomorrow once they're done working, and we'll see where we end up. So no huge updates today, but we'll cover the back wall in a second. They finished all of this soffit trimming here, and you can see they put like a black trim on the outside of all the wood, so everything up there is trimmed off and looks really nice and finished, and the underside of the soffit looks really nice and clean, and the roof is done 100%. Well, except for the ridge vent, the roof itself is finished. So now on the back wall, they got the back wall upper portion pretty much done. So you can see the color choice here is the dark charcoal gray with black windows. These are 3x4 double hung. They typically put in sliders, but sliders were 8 weeks out, and I prefer this style because if I ever want to put AC in this back room here because the mini split doesn't reach it or whatever, I can just throw it in the window and it matches the house. Well, we'll match the house once we put new windows in the house. But this side is done up on top, and down here the tieback wrap is started on the bottom, and they have the carriage that will hold the wainscoting or wainscoting, whatever you want to call it, trim on the bottom. So this strip down here will all be black, and then this color combo will wrap around. So tomorrow I'm gonna be at a wedding pretty much all day. We gotta leave the house at like 9:30 in the morning. Not a wedding, but day before wedding stuff, rehearsal and all that. So I don't really have a lot of footage tomorrow, but they're gonna put the windows in the side is my guess. There's 3 windows on this side, 3 on the other, and they're gonna keep going around with the sheet metal. So when we come home tomorrow night, and it will be dark, so I'll have to come out here with a flashlight, and I'll update you guys on Saturday before the wedding. And when we come back tomorrow night, I don't know if they'll be done with the walls. Maybe that'll be like a next week thing at this pace, but it was just 2 guys today, so I would assume tomorrow we'll have kind of part of this wall or that back wall done. And then I don't know if they're gonna save the wainscoting black bottom trim for last, but the end gables take longer because they have that, like, where are we? They have the peak, the triangle peak, whereas on the sides it's just flat cut over. There's no special cuts to make everything fit all nice, except for the windows. So sides might go faster. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm doing this for the first time, so and hopefully the last time. It's been a cool process, but it's super stressful, and it's very expensive. Here we've got the rest of the windows, so there's 6 more. These are just straight from Lowe's. And then it's gonna be, like we said yesterday, 1, 2, and 3 windows on each side, mirrored over here. And God, it's weird seeing a wall in here now, but you can kind of starts giving it perspective, but it's pretty cool. I'm a little bummed that I'm not gonna be here to see them do the outer trim stuff, but there goes my neighbor. It'll be cool to come home to see it done, but I just won't be able to get any footage of it for you guys, so it's very dark in here. The next week, we're gonna start doing electrical stuff, which I called the power company today to see where I can run power to, but we can at least do the wiring on the building and get it all prepped. I managed to capture some drone footage yesterday and today when I got home, but side is done. Sorry, I'm out of breath, but side is done. Wainscoting is done. Windows are in on this side. Back is fully done, and they've got the windows framed in on the other side. We got a front door that will be painted black at some point, and starting to do some of the projects that I can do on my own. So they're letting me use their Komatsu excavator, which might not be the best idea, but I am running a trench to tie in my downspouts, and then I'm also going to run a trench over to tie in my water. So I'm going to run water from the house 6 feet down, so that's going to be the biggest trench, straight over into a frost-free hydrant shutoff valve, and then I can backfill that with dirt. That way there's water in the building. I'm not going to use it for a lot, just really a sink. And then I'm going to have a sink drain that's going to come down and tie into this, because it's just going to be water again, so that I can go with the gutter water out to a dry well or mini septic tank or whatever. So I don't want to worry about a toilet and running a septic tank with leach fields. I have one already. Really don't want to tie into it, so I'm 50 feet from the house. There's no sense in just not walking over to go to the bathroom. But a sink is nice to wash my hands, or if I need some water, or if I want to hook a hose up to clean a car or something like that. I have it. I don't have to run a hose from the house, which would be really annoying. So this is going to be annoying because I got to do it 6 feet underground because of the frost lines, but I'm just going to drill through the wall, run some hose over. Again, it's 50 feet of hose to a frost-free hydrant, so I can, if for whatever reason I want to shut water off to the shop, I can shut that off, and it actually shuts off the water 6 feet down. It's up to code that way, so might as well do it right. And then that water will run out to a dry sump setup. Or not dry sump, a dry well setup in the back, which is essentially a pit with a filter with some gravel in it, just so the water can disperse. Same thing the gutters are going to run to. Very simple, basic setup, just some PVC pipe, and I'm going to tie my sump pump into it as well. So, yeah, so let me show you the building. So I've got, again, 3 windows on this side like we talked about, and they are biased forward a little bit, so there's a bigger gap in the back than at the rear, but they are the same distance from each other, which felt aesthetically required to me. And then we've got the black wainscoting on the bottom, charcoal gray side, black trim, black windows, black roof. Garage door will be black. As you saw yesterday, the back wall is done. They are missing the trim piece that goes here, but that's probably like the last thing they do. But everything is super straight, super, like, I can't believe how square this building is. But let's go to the other side, which is going to be the next side that they work on. So back wall, here's the west side of the building. Windows are framed in as of today, so next week they'll be able to just slot the windows in and then start putting the siding up here. The walls go super fast because they're just flat with no peaks or anything like that. But this side will look identical to that far side over there. And then up front here, we've got no window over here, which might drive me a little nuts one day, but it's fine. It's not worth the extra $500 to put a window in there. We've got the man door here, which is currently white. It's just primed white. But what I'm gonna do is paint it black. Just obviously when I go touch this with my hands after working on a car, white will last all of a week. But it'll also match the garage door when it's black. And I'm going to be putting some sort of tint, like mirror tint or something, on all of the windows just so you can't walk up and kind of look inside. And then once the building is up, I'm waiting on them to come out and mark where all like the buried lines are towards the street, because I need to run power and I need to dig a trench with that thing to the road. So once they do that next week, we'll be digging power, we'll be running power inside the building, and hopefully have the rough inside roughed out with electric by 2 Mondays from now. So pick you guys up on Monday. So it's been a couple days. I admittedly haven't filmed anything, but they've only been here twice this week and it's Friday, so there's not a huge update besides the fact that the outer skeleton of the building is finished. So everything is done. The trim on the sides is done. The roof vent is all done. The door is in. The big door is framed. So you've got at least trimmed in. Got all the black trim around the doors. And the door has a handle now, which is kind of nice. Locking it is a little redundant, but there's my dad. So we'll be painting this black. I have black paint, but everything all the way around is done. So inside they've raked everything flat with the skid steer. We've got water. Got my dad running away. And then now we're gonna do electrical. So they are coming yesterday or 2 days ago, they kind of dropped the bomb that they want to do the ceiling before they start doing any of the floor stuff, which means we have to get all the wiring that goes in the ceiling done by today. They're gonna come back Monday, today's Friday, and I have this really sketchy 35-foot boom lift for today only. So we're gonna run, I bought everything, all the electrical stuff. We're gonna run 24 outlets in the ceiling, and we're gonna run power for both lifts and power to both lift posts, so I can plug in like a 110 outlet to charge a tool or use a Sawzall or something if I'm at a lift station. We're not gonna do any of the perimeter electrics right now, just because we don't have to until we got probably 3 weeks before they spray foam. So all of these trusses are 4 feet on center. And the way the math works out is we're gonna go every other truss starting here. So there will be outlets there, there, all the way down. It's 8 rows deep, and we're gonna go 3 over. So right there where there's a joist is 12 feet from the wall. Right there where there's a connection is 12 feet. And right there is another 12 feet. So it'll be 3 banks of 8 row. You can kind of see it now, where I'll just have outlets. And the theory behind running outlets instead of actually hardwiring lights is I can plug in a 4-foot LED strip, and then say in 20 years they come out with something that's better than LED or whatever, or I have a blown out light, I can just unplug it, plug a new one in, and get back to it without having to wire anything in or feed new wire if it's something different. So a little future proofing. And then the lifts, I should probably spray paint on the floor where the lifts are going so that we can kind of visualize where the power has to drop. So here's the foundations for the first lift, or the second lift, I guess. It's, the way it's positioned is it gives me 7 feet off of a 2.5-foot workbench to the front of the car. It's figuring a Miata. And then car will go here. There will be just under 2 feet to the wall on that side with once they put all the stuff up. And then there's a 3-foot span, and the second lift is gonna go there. The other one ends up underneath the sky boom, but perfectly centers down the garage door, so if I don't have a car on the lift, I can back a long trailer in all the way to the back wall, including the truck. So a little strategic. And then the room is actually gonna go up front here. So that'll be the entry door. You'll come into the engine building room. There will be a door into the rest of the building right here. Light switch right there. And then we've got 20 feet and then 15 feet over to leave a foot for like garage door controls and stuff like that right there. Next up, we're gonna start mounting electrical stuff, I guess. So this is gonna be my chariot for the day. It's a 35-foot jib crane, boom crane, whatever you wanna call it. I'm not getting on a ladder to get up there, and the off-road scissor lifts were wicked expensive. So this guy, Home Depot Rentals, it's like 350 bucks for a day, is gonna let me get access to everything. So I just gotta tow it around with my truck every time I wanna move it, which is a little annoying, but better than paying $1,000 for the off-road one. Worth noting, I've never operated one of these until yesterday, and they didn't give me instructions on how to do it. So if you see me doing something wrong, mind your own business. Very sketchy. It's very bouncy. Any like slight movements make me bounce up and down. So this is the first one we gotta do. This is the back corner, and we're just gonna see how many we can reach with this thing. That is the first box in. Put a butyl plate on it. That's white because the ceiling's gonna be white. We'll get to the colors later, but it's not fully seated, as you can see, because they're gonna come in, and when they do the roof, they're gonna make sure everything is perfectly centered and lined up. They just wanted them loose, and then we're gonna leave about 1 foot of slack on the cable on every socket so they can move them around as much as they have to. So this is still connected to the spool. This one I've already cut to 14 feet. That'll give me a foot on either end of each socket. And to make things faster, my dad is going to pre-cut 14-foot lengths so that I can run the cross beams without having to do it up here with a tape measure, because it's super time consuming. So this guy is gonna go 8 feet over to that post. This guy is gonna go 12 feet over to the center joist right there. I think I'm gonna try to do that one next. And then I'm just gonna work within the range of where I can before I have to move this thing.
I want credit for assistant executive producer.
However, it's still going to be a drive for us. They're all here in the northeast area. The closest one to us is either going to be Albany or Erie.
So I didn't film a whole lot of the process yesterday. I had my mom, shout out both my parents for being here all day helping me. It's very invaluable having an extra set of hands to like hand you tools that you forgot on the bottom, or like they prepped some boxes for me while I was working up there so we could go up and hang some boxes faster. I was on a time crunch though, because I had to get the equipment back within 24 hours, which was like 4 p.m. So I didn't want to keep stopping to film because we would have blown past the deadline. We were actually an hour and a half over, and Tanner from Victor Home Depot, if you're for some reason watching this, thank you for only charging me for 24 hours instead of an extra 4 on top. We got it all done. We got 24 outlets in the ceiling. I was beat last night, just all day from 9:30 to, I think we left it here at 5. I was just up there hammering into the wall, wiring up boxes, all that stuff, but I'll show you my concept. We've got the wires running down the wall right now to where the switch panel is going to be, and then we'll run them over to the box once we put a switch panel in. So we also ran power for the lift and power for outlets on the lift. So I want to be able to put a power outlet on the lift, so if I need to plug in something with a cable or a power reel, I can do it from the lift. Instead of having to run an extension cord from a wall, because it would be like 25 feet across. So just a little pre-planning makes things go a lot easier down the road. And it's one of those things, like that much wire and the 2 outlets for the outlets on the lift is gonna cost me maybe $100 at the end of the day. So if that, $50 probably. So it's just good to have. It's not something I wanna have to do afterwards. I can run all of this, or I could have run all of this through conduit on the outside of the wall. So like once I put the ceiling up, I could have hung it from below. But then your costs are not only the, I think it was like $400 in wire that I spent, but then you also have to buy conduit. You also have to buy all the conduit connectors, everything to hang the conduit from the ceiling. It's a much longer process. And this way it's all hidden. All you'll see from the outside is faceplates, and you can see some of them right here. It's cleaner in my opinion. We're gonna do the wall the same way. We don't have to do that today or tomorrow because they're not putting spray foam on the walls yet. But I'm gonna put every outlet in the wall first. And then if I ever need in the future to run anything external, then I will run it through conduit. But it's not something I have to do. You know, I have a lift or a shop floor layout, so I know where my welders are going to be, I know where the lifts are, I know where the workbench is, I know where the rooms are going to go, or the room is going to go. So I know where I need power vaguely, pretty distinctly actually. So I might as well just run it now. It's way easier. You don't have to ground to a box or anything. You just new construction box, hammer it on the wall, put the outlet in, move on. So if we start at the front door, you can see I've got 4 wires running down the wall here. They are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what that corresponds to, if we look straight up, there's an outlet here. So this is the first bank, we'll call it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is one switch, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is switch 2, and then that repeats itself 2 more times down, so every other rafter has an outlet on it. And then they will work as if when I hit the first switch, it just powers these, second switch powers those, third switch powers those, fourth powers those. So you'll be able to do like the section lighting. If I'm coming in to grab something from up here, you just hit the first switch. It's not like it's not a crazy deal. I mean, I didn't want to run 24 switches to one outlet. It felt like not enough, or 24 outlets to one switch. So we figured play on the safe side. It's 6 outlets a switch, which is way less than is required. So, or way less than the maximum that you can do. So we're safe on that sense. And then the lift power. So we were talking yesterday, here's the lift posts. So lift 2 is the one on the right. And then I kind of drove over with the skid steer, but lift 1 is here and the other post is there. Power on the lifts that I'm getting is on the left side. So I've pre-run boxes. Orange is 220 volt capable, it's 10 gauge wire. And then yellow is 12-2 wire, and the outlets are all run with 14-2 wire because they're just 15 amp circuits. So the yellow wire will be on a 20 amp breaker, and then the orange wire will run to 50 amp breaker, I believe. And then here, same idea. So this is lift post number 2. We've got yellow coming down and we've got orange coming down, just for same concept on these lift posts here. It is amazing. So I drew this all in SolidWorks on Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Saturday. I'm losing track of days. And I was laying everything out. I'm like, it's like 3,072 square feet. So almost 3,100 square feet. And I'm like, where am I going to put? I was originally going to put 3 lifts in here. Now we're going to put 2, which is fine. I don't think I'll ever really need 3. But even with 2 lifts, I'm like, where am I going to put, like, how do I organize this so it's not awkward to get cars on the lift? I can still back a trailer in. I can put 4 post lifts in. I need my engine building room. I need a fab area. You fill up 3,000 square feet like that, it's incredible. Because you have to take into account, you have to move cars around, right? You can't just fill it to the brim because you'll never be able to get anything done. So the center space here is going to be pretty dead. So you'll have this entry in here, kind of tough to show. You'll have the entry in here, and then until kind of the skid steer is going to be blank. So let me show you from the side. So entry door to skid steer, there's gonna be nothing here because I need access to that lift and I need access to that lift. That's okay because my goal had always been to park my truck inside. It's too big to fit inside of a garage like we have on the house. So I'm just gonna park it over here. It'll be heated, it'll be nice. I'm probably gonna put like a little dam. They make these like water dams, so if it's snowing or raining and it leaks, I can just squeegee it out. It keeps the salt from getting to the rest of the shop. Or if I need to work on a trailer, I can back the trailer in and I can work on the trailer inside. So while it will look kind of like wasted space, it will do me a benefit by being open. So when you guys see the final layout, it'll be clear, I hope, how it makes sense. But for now, we are ready for them to put the ceiling in on Monday. So this will look super cool with a ceiling in it, because right now it just looks like a barn that you'd store equipment in. Ceiling is the next thing, and then as the floor insulation goes down and all that, I'm gonna be working on the electric, so I'll kind of update you as I work and as they work. We are not gonna be running the power to the street ourselves, or myself, me and my father-in-law. I'm just not comfortable doing it, and National Grid has been super slow to respond to me. So I called in a pro. He's gonna bury the wire from the pole at the street to the barn. You guys are out of focus, there we go. He's gonna bury the wire from the pole at the street to the barn, or the shop. He's gonna put the meter on the building. He's gonna put a shut off on the building, and he'll connect it to the meter box, or to the panel box inside. So If I had done it myself, by the time I rented equipment and did all the trenching and stuff, it would be around $3,000. He's gonna handle absolutely everything, including having National Grid hook it up to the power pole for, it's $4,250. So extra $1,250. Yep, that's just how this works. But that way I know it's done professionally, it's done to code, it's safe, and if anything happens, I'm not out there digging the trench up because I did something wrong. So peace of mind, I'm more than comfortable wiring stuff up inside. I might have an electrician come and look at it just to verify it, but my father-in-law used to wire houses, so this is like super easy for him to do. So it's absolutely miserable outside, but they are working on the ceiling right now. So they put all the insulation in the corners of the roof so that it can breathe. They're putting a vapor barrier up, and then they're going to start putting metal paneling up above it. So that's why we did the electrical on Friday, so that we can have a hidden electric up in the ceiling and not have to run conduit absolutely everywhere. So we've been graced with some nice weather, which means I can continue the shop update from yesterday, because yesterday was absolutely miserable. To catch you up, yesterday when I filmed in here, it was very dark, so hopefully the footage came out okay. I'm gonna get in the shade so you guys can see me. But they were hammering up the, I don't know what you call that, vinyl sheeting, tarping, whatever, on the ceiling. That's a vapor barrier. So we're gonna be blowing cellulose in for insulation in the ceiling, which over time can rot the steel, the tin paneling that they're gonna put up there. So we put down 6mm vinyl up on the ceiling, just to, A, as a vapor barrier, and B, to protect the steel so that I don't have to replace this roof in 10 years or something like that. So they did that all yesterday. They also, you'll see, tucked in some styrofoam type stuff in the eaves of the rafter. That's so that the ceiling can breathe. You don't want to close off the attic because it will just build moisture and you'll get mold and you'll have all sorts of problems down the road. So same thing they do in a house. You put this styrofoam stuff, ventilation I guess, in the eaves, and then that plus the, what do you call it, center beam that goes over the top of the building is vented, and then the eaves are vented, or the ends of the building where it hangs over, front and rear, are also vented. So that allows the ceiling to breathe. I don't care if it's cold up there because we're gonna have insulation between us and that. And the more airflow in there, the less chance of the ceiling raining inside, which is like a thing if you just have a non-ventilated metal roof. So here's the ceiling that they've started. Well, here's the vapor barrier stuff. You can see the electrical that we put in last week is kind of hidden right now. They are cutting it all out to fit the boxes in for the ceiling. And you can see here they've done a super good job. So he wanted them left loose because they wanted to center them on these ribs. And that is exactly what they're doing. For some reason that one doesn't have a box on it right now, but we are first panel in, so these are, oh God, these are like 16 feet long or something like that. So the next panel will probably go to like here, and then the next panel will go, and it's probably four panels across. And then they left a manhole entry here, which is kind of cool because obviously we have to have access to do the installation. But then in the future, if I ever have any wiring issues, I can in theory go up there and walk across the rafters and fix any electrical stuff that we got going on in the boxes, or if I have to run new wires maybe. And then today, they weren't here for very long, maybe a couple hours. They came and did the installation around the base, except for there, I think because the sheets are in the way, and here because I have to dig out with Wolfie's mini excavator, which is currently on the trailer out there, to do the PVC drain line. So he requested I do it either tonight or tomorrow, so I'll be knocking that out probably tomorrow. Once that is done, they're gonna roll, so they're gonna get essentially one of those big drum rollers that you see them roll like streets with, or pavement or asphalt. They're like 8 tons. They're gonna bring one in to settle this pad out because it's not settled enough from when the site work was done. They compacted it with like an 18-inch vibratory compactor, which is not enough, especially once you start to go put, you know, thousands or tens of thousands of pounds of concrete down. It's gonna settle and it'll crack. So they're gonna bring in a roller. They're gonna bring in some fine crushed stone, and then they're gonna put down insulation foam board on the floor, which then gets PEX on top of it, which then gets concrete. So concrete is scheduled for a week from tomorrow. Today's Tuesday the 15th. It is scheduled for Wednesday the 23rd, which is great because I will be here. I will not be here Thursday night, so having it done by Wednesday is awesome because I can film it. So the plan is that tomorrow they're gonna finish the ceiling because they've got all the prep work done for that. I think they were a guy short today, so they couldn't do it. And then Friday, I would guess, is rolling the floor, I believe is what he told me. And then, you know, roll the floor, probably put the insulation down, or start at least. Monday would be running PEX. Monday and Tuesday, it's a long process. I'm helping Wolfie do his, and it took 2 of us 4 hours yesterday to do 4 lines, 4 loops. And this building will have 12 loops, so I'm sure they're faster than we are, but it's a timely process and it takes time. And I'm sure they're gonna want some wiggle room, so they'll probably finish up Tuesday, and then Wednesday, concrete will get here. I don't know if the garage door is going in before concrete. I would assume so, but I haven't heard anything from him. I don't really ask him every day what's going on the next day. He just tells me sometimes. But I'm assuming if the garage door does not go up, when they pour the concrete, they will just take some tarp, like what's on the ceiling, and just tarp the door closed. That way no like rain or wind or anything can get in here. And it will also help with heat because the building is dark and like outside it's black. The sun will heat the building up, which helps concrete cure and all that stuff, which as we get into these colder months, concrete cure rate is very important. So concrete cures stronger when it's colder outside because it takes longer to cure. If you pour when it's like super hot out, it's fine. It's just, it's plenty strong for what we would do. But if you pour in the middle of winter and the concrete freezes while it's drying, it will become very brittle because it freezes like on the inside, so it'll expand and then it'll pop the concrete. So that's why I was in such a rush to get this building up. I was hoping concrete was honestly gonna be poured today, back when we started this, so the 15th. But the 23rd, he said they pour concrete into December, so we should have plenty of cure time, but it does take a month. So I'll be able to put lifts in November 23rd. I can obviously walk in here and do stuff, and we have insulation and stuff to do before then, but the concrete will go down, and then I think once concrete is down, they are done, because they won't be doing the walls just yet. I gotta do spray foam and all that first, so they'll be done for a while. And then progress will slow down a good bit. I'll do the electrical, we'll do spray foam, they'll come back in, do the walls once we're ready, and then that'll probably be where I end this video, is after installation, electric, and walls are up. And then we'll do another video of like finishing out the shop with lifts and building the room that's gonna go right where I'm standing right now, and kind of all sorts of that stuff. So I'm rambling. This is gonna be a rambling episode because, you know, I can really just give you progress updates as we go. I don't have a cost update for you currently because nothing has cost me any more money yet. I know future prices, so electric to the street. I'm gonna do all the electric inside, and I've got a guy that is gonna run the electric out to the road for me. I just don't wanna deal with National Grid. I don't wanna deal with burying wire. So he's gonna handle all that meter, all the way up to the meter on the building. So we will just have to hook into the meter on our side. But that is $4,250. He said he's probably 2 to 3 weeks out, which is fine. Requoted the insulation because we're not spray foaming the ceiling anymore, or the roof. We are blowing in, so it's a little bit cheaper. Spray foam for all 4 walls and spray foaming the ceiling 2-inch closed cell was $17,500. Doing spray foam all around the perimeter and cellulose in the ceiling, so 17 inches of cellulose for our 50 value is $15,000. So we're going with that route just because I want a ceiling in here. I don't want to heat all of that dead space above it. So 15 grand for that, $4,250 for electrical from the street to here. And then I will be tallying up the electric costs of like what the box cost me on the wall. We got 200 amp service, all the wire we put in the ceiling, the rental for the high boom lift. All that stuff will be tallied up once the electric is done, and I'll just put like a breakdown of the electric costs. So far, where we are at currently, boxes over here and all that stuff, and I have a bunch of wire, I'm around 2 grand. It's the brunt of the cost. The rest is really just wiring cost and some outlets and things like that. So maybe another $700-800 in electrical on my side of things to get the building wired up. But yeah, oh, I also started painting the door black because the door was white, and I should have spray painted it because it was vinyl. But you can see I need like one more coat probably. I'm gonna wait till Friday, I think, because it's supposed to be like 70 degrees out. And I don't want to paint when it's this cold. It's like 45 degrees outside right now. Winter is coming. But yeah, I'm gonna quit rambling. There's Wolfie's mini excavator. And I'll pick you guys up tomorrow when they're doing the ceiling. Hey guys, so real quick update. I just got back from picking up my new trailer, so I was gone all day today. Got a 34-foot long open deck aluminum trailer. So I can haul 2 Miatas around, which will be relevant in the future with 2 race cars and stuff like that. But that's not the point of this video. You'll probably see that at some other point. Point of this video is now to catch you up on where we stand today. So today is Thursday, October 17th, and the ceiling is done. So they got the whole thing finished up. I'm missing a light box here. And that one I believe is my fault because I broke the plastic. I'm not gonna ask them about replacing it because when I go to plug the lights in, I will replace that myself. But this is all done. We got a nice little knockout here to get into the ceiling. So for when they do spray foam and all, or not spray foam, but cellulose in the ceiling, that's the way they'll get in. They'll just scaffold up and then they can climb around up inside the rafters there. You can see the wires for the lifts are hanging down. And then over here we have the wires for the switch panels for the lights. Everything else is hidden. You can see the white little outlets, man, it's even hard for me to see them. Right there. So those are all discreetly hidden in the ceiling. I think it looks really clean. I do feel bad because I know it took them longer because they had to work around all the light boxes, but the other thing they did today is laid all of the insulation on the floor. So underneath this, there's a plastic vapor barrier, and then this is all 2-inch pink board foam. You can hear me crunching it. And then tomorrow they're gonna come back and start running PEX for radiant floor heat. I messed up here when I gave them the measurements. So these are actually 4 feet farther forward than I need them to be. So what I'm gonna do right now is actually pick these 2 panels up, put them here, and then take this row of panels and put them over there. So I'll show you guys that when I'm done. Super simple, but just a little annoying that it happened. So you can see a little bit what I've done. Probably easier to see from the side. This stuff is loud. So I took this row, which was originally over here. So I picked that row of untouched panels and set them down over here. And then the panels that were here, I originally slid them over, but the lifts were still a little too far forward. They were like here-ish, well, here, all the way down, which doesn't give you a lot of room because you gotta remember I'm gonna have a probably 24-inch workbench along the wall, so 2 feet out. I need space for an engine crane if I'm gonna pull a motor, so you have to be able to come up and back. So I just didn't feel fully comfortable with it. Originally the plan was that they were gonna be right in line with this post, so that would have put them 2 feet farther forward, and so what I've opted to do is just take them and flip them straight over, which moves them 2 feet back from where they were gonna be, which is fine. There's nothing that's going here. This is always gonna be open, so it doesn't matter if there's anything in the way there, or if these are farther back. And then over here, it's a little annoying because I'm gonna put a room there. So the car has to come in and turn. If it feels like it's gonna be too tight, I can make the room shorter. That's fine. I have one more piece. I gotta cut a little bit around where it hits the one of the studs or posts. And then I'm gonna tape it so that I'm not leaving them with more work tomorrow. They will know that I was in here because, or like that I switched it up, because they laid all of this foam with the labeling up, and then when you flipped it, the labeling is no longer up. So not that I'm trying to hide it from them. I'm gonna tell them tomorrow morning what happened. I just didn't want them to have to fix my mistakes. So I wanted to make sure it was right tonight. And you'll never see it because it's gonna be covered in 6 inches of concrete. So it's just probably something they were doing that they just put them all face up because these guys are meticulous. And then you have me coming in here screwing everything up. So I gotta dry it. It's wet underneath, so I have to dry all this stuff off. And then I'll tape it all down and I'll show you guys what we're gonna be looking at the end. The lift spacing that I cut out. Also, this wouldn't be a big deal if I wasn't doing radiant floor. I gotta stop walking around. This wouldn't be a big deal if I wasn't doing radiant floor because you wouldn't be, like I wouldn't have to, I could put the lifts wherever I want once the floor is poured. But because there's gonna be PEX running on the floor, I have to know exactly where everything is so that when I drill down in for the bolts that hold the lift in place, I don't drill through a PEX line. So there will be no PEX running, where's my finger? No PEX running in these squares. They'll make the PEX kind of come around it. And the lift pads, so I'm gonna be running, or I designed these off of Tuxedo 9,000 pound, like top crossbeam lifts. It was really just a cost thing for me. I was looking at BendPak, but they are $6,000 instead of 2,200 bucks. And I have used the Tuxedos and they're great. So since this isn't like a commercial space where the lifts are gonna be going up and down all day, the Tuxedo lifts will be fine. But I based the spacing off of those. The pads on those are 12 inches, so 12 inches this way wide, and then 17.9 inches this way. So these are 30 by 30, so I have tons of space. That way, when I'm drilling, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm gonna be right on the edge of where this, where the PEX is gonna go. And my plan is, when we do drill the lifts, I'm gonna rent a thermal imaging camera or borrow one from somebody or something. And then as I heat the floor, I'll take a thermal picture and it will not be hot where there is no PEX. Obviously I'll have measurements and all that from each wall. But just as a sanity check, as you heat the floor up, I should be able to see the PEX, at least the general area the PEX is in, and you will see a spot where there is no heat yet. So you have to do it right as we turn the system on, but you'll see a dead spot, and that correlates to no PEX, and that correlates to where I put the lift. Some people have mentioned putting metal, like a metal pad down on the absolute ground so you can metal detect it and find it. It's not as accurate, and I don't want to have to drill into metal, so we're just gonna use a FLIR, like a FLIR type camera. But all right, let me cut the specs. I've been up since like 4:30, so I would like to go to bed, or be done for the day at least. I got it all flipped over, taped back up. This is how far they got. You can see this row ends right there, so they still gotta go down. They have 1, 2, 3 rows over to go, and then the whole floor will be taped.
Morning, it is 6:15 on Wednesday, October 23rd, and it is time for concrete. So the guys are here, 3 trucks pulled in, I think it's 6 guys. There are going to be 6 concrete trucks and 20-minute intervals starting at 6:30-ish. Concrete's never really on time, so but they're planning on 6:30 start. They got all the PEX laid down yesterday, and they framed out. They're gonna do a little bit of an apron in front of the shop, like 4 feet out, just from the garage door to the man door, which would be really nice. and then they're also going to seal it, but that'll be tomorrow. So I'm actually in the truck, my truck. I'm about to run into town to grab coffee and donuts for the guys, and then I'll head back, hopefully in time for the first concrete truck to show up.
But it's quite the setup. They've got a concrete truck that dumps into a chute that runs up into this conveyor truck, and it runs, they can like extend the boom out into the building and swing it left to right so they get the back corners. I was wondering how they're gonna do it. Otherwise you'd have to like truck in wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow of concrete, which is a very slow process. And so as you can see, there's one truck here and there's another truck waiting here. So concrete, you can't really just let it sit for very long. So this is like the fastest method. They're already pumping concrete out in there. I might try and grab some footage through a side window like a creeper, but the floor's going in. Pumping it in. You can see the boom up top there. Runs over and ships the concrete into the building. Pretty sick little. Big shop update. Concrete is in, as you saw. So they showed up bright and early with the trucks, and they had that cool conveyor belt looking thing that you'll see all the drone footage of from earlier today. I don't know how long that boom can reach, but I think it's like probably over 100 feet because he still had a bunch of pieces in there that were stacked up. But the concrete is done. I shouldn't walk on it, so I'm not going to today. They brushed the pad. I'll flip you around in a second. They brushed the outside apron so that when it's like snowy or rainy, there's traction. And then they, I don't know what we call it, hovercraft finished that thing. The little like fan polisher. They did that to the inside. So the inside is very flat and will be very nice and smooth. And then they are gonna put some sealer on it tomorrow, which I'll show you in a second. But let me flip you around, show you what we're looking at. It's tarped off currently because of the leaves, and we don't have a garage door. So here's your apron. This is 4 feet out, and then it just goes from door edge to door edge. So it's here to there. And that's it. All brush finish. So they took a broom, or broom finish, sorry. Took a broom and they just swept it that way, which gives you this nice little texture. It is like solid. I mean, they obviously walk on it to finish it with those, but they walk like the machine follows them, so it doesn't leave footprints. And then in here, we've got the fully finished floor. So you can see there's some like track passes from the hovercraft thing. There's my pipe sticking out of the ground. That one on the right was barely long enough. All the windows are open so we get some cross breeze. But yeah, it's fully concreted, looking good. And then these are upside down just so they can mix them easier tomorrow. But this is what we were putting on the floor. It is a VOC, so it is a solvent-based floor sealer, which is what we want. So there's two types of floor sealers, really. There's water-based and solvent-based. And I'm excluding your epoxy options because we're not epoxying the floor. It looks good for like a year, and then the second you chip it up somewhere, then you're just, you gotta either grind it all back down, whatever. This is gonna be a used garage, so this is oil proof and all that stuff, and if I need to redo it, you just pour more on the floor and roll it out with a paint roller, and that's it. So, two types of sealers that I had the option to use. Well, not really, but two types of sealers. One is a water-based, which is really nice if you have like a sidewalk in front of your house or something and you just want it to bead water up and like keep salt off and things like that. Works great. It's about half the cost of this stuff. This was included in my floor cost, which I'll get to in a second. And the other option is solvent-based, which is what you're looking at here, which is obviously much more hazardous and flammable and all that stuff. The benefit of solvent-based is the way, however it cures, whatever it dries as, I don't know what you want to call it. It is, like, it won't wear with gasoline. Like if you spill some gas while you're loading a car or a mower or something with fuel, it doesn't chip off or doesn't degrade the surface like a water-based or an epoxy finish would do. So for a floor like this, same with oil you can wipe right up, it beads up, it's really nice. So for a floor like this that I'm gonna be draining oil on, working on cars, some of them have fuel leaks, to do the solvent base, it's like, I think when I was pricing it out myself, solvent base was like $2,500 for enough, and then water based was like $1,000 to $1,200. So for an extra $1,000, which every time we turn around it's $1,000 here, for an extra $1,000 you get a way more durable finish, which is all I care about. I don't want the aesthetic floor, I don't want flake on the ground, because if you drop nuts or bolts, you can never find them. So I'm very happy we're going with this. I'll just keep a picture of it, and if I need more in a decade, I'll just put more down. But they're gonna come do that tomorrow morning, first thing. So once he's done with that, once it's dried, we can walk on it. So I'll be walking on it tomorrow before we leave for Miatacon, just so that I can say I walked into my shop finished. But good news for today, concrete is in, winning great. They were done by 9:30 with the initial pour. Tomorrow's sealing, and then I'm gone for a few days, and then Monday they're gonna put the door in. So I will probably film a little tomorrow when I walk on it, and then I'll film Monday when the door is in and the building is really closed up. Let me show you power. Originally power was gonna come out on the other side of this wall and run to a power pole that's right there. The problem is that power pole is from 1941, and National Grid wanted to replace it, which could possibly mean that I bear the cost of that, and it's like a 6 to 8 week lead time, because whatever stupid reason. National Grid sucks, but that's not part of this. So the other option is there is a power pole right there that already has a transformer on it. So we're gonna pull from there, we're just gonna run it straight over to this side, and then the power pole is gonna go in. So he'll run it along the edge of the driveway. Power pole will run to a meter on this side of the building. Kind of prefer it because the meter's hidden. I think it is a shorter run, maybe, which would save me some money. It's probably gonna be nearly the same though. But we didn't go under the driveway because you have to use like Schedule 80 conduit, which is more expensive, and there's no sense in having it on that side. The only thing that's gonna suck is I already put my lift power coming down like back in there, but we'll just loop it around the building and it'll be fine. Luckily we haven't hung the box or anything like that, so that's gonna all be changed still. But he's supposed to probably send me a quote today or tomorrow for the final update. The initial quote was $4,250, $4,250 for that. And then that'll be a meter and a shut off on the outside of the building, and he handles all of the National Grid hookup to the power poles and stuff, which is very nice because they're terrible at responding. So okay, I'm gonna cut it off because I'm rambling, but see you guys tomorrow probably. Just got back from MiataCon like 20 minutes ago, and it looks like they did some work while I was gone. So last time you guys saw, we were pouring the concrete. Thursday, he sealed it, and then it looks kind of dusty behind me because I just leaf blew it all out. But Friday, he came back and saw cut the floor. So I'll just show you what that looks like. It's really dusty. I'm probably gonna come in and hose it down and or vacuum it all out. I kind of wish they had done that, but whatever. I want to get all the dust out because I don't want to start working in there and get dust on everything. So let's see what it looks like. He saw cut 2 lines up and down, and then there's every 8 feet there's a line coming across. It's just saw cut like an inch or 2 into the floor, all the way over. You can see the reflection of the surface finish that they put on it. It's this really nice shiny kind of Home Depot-esque finish that I really like. I didn't want the hot boy epoxy finish. It's just not my style, I guess. I'm afraid of it chipping up and then I have to fix it. This, if it wears out, you just put a new coat on it and it's super nice. So that's like 10 years down the road, but for now I gotta clean it. Probably once they're done putting the garage door in, which is tomorrow. So tomorrow we should have a garage door on that. And then once the garage door is on, the company that did the building and the concrete, Zimmerman Construction, is gonna be done until I call them back to do the interior paneling, like what we have on the ceiling. So this week it's October. It's October 27th. So this week they're gonna, me and my father-in-law are gonna do the electric. So we're gonna run everything around the building on the inside. And then Thursday, the guy's gonna come and dig a trench out to the road and bury the electric cable out to the telephone pole, and put a meter on the side of the building so that we can hook up with RG&E, or National Grid, for electric. So hopefully by Monday of next week, we need to have all the electrical done on the inside because the installation comes on Tuesday, November 5th. So they're gonna start spray foaming, they'll do the ceiling, blown in stuff takes about 2 days. And then once they are done, then I will call Warren back and have him put the paneling up and really finish the shop. So I'll probably text him this week to try and line him up, but I would hope by the end of next week, the shop is, for all intents and purposes, finished, which would be November 8th or 9th, if not a little bit into the week after that. So that way I can start doing workbenches and things like that and get it ready. And then by the time I'm done, the lifts can go in and all that stuff. So that's it for today. Hopefully it's not too dark or grainy when I film this, but today is Halloween, so October 31st. We're going to do the scariest thing possible, which is electrical stuff. So perfectly fitting. And by we, I mean somebody else is doing it for me. I'm gonna cut to the drone footage. The plan for today, which this is filmed post, but let me introduce the drone footage. The plan for today is to run power to the pole at the street so that I can have power inside the building. So everything exterior is getting done by a professional, and then all the interior wiring is getting done by me and my father-in-law. So as you can see, they dug a trench all the way down the side of the house, or shop. This is the left side of the shop. And we now have, or pretty much have, a power meter. So there's obviously the meter is missing. National Grid will supply the actual meter, or the electric company, which is in my case National Grid. But you can see the power lines in from the street are here, and then this other line is going to run to an electrical shutoff out here. The 200 amp dedicated service from its own, so like I'll have my own account for this separate from the house, which is nice because I can pull 200 amps. If you pull it off a house, you can only pull 100 amps. I really didn't want to short myself. That's not an electrical joke, but whatever. I didn't want to short myself on power and end up like needing more amperage in the shop if I want to run bigger equipment like mills and things like that. So figured this way, we've got more than enough. So in the future, whatever, the bill can be separate. So like business can pay the expense on the electric on the shop, and then I personal will pay the house, which is the best way. But so they came today, dug a trench, buried some conduit, and pulled the wire through. So now I'll go show you the street side of it. It's exactly like you would hook a house up. Like if you're building a new house, same type of service. A lot of these things are the same idea as building a house, because you're essentially building a house if you're going to use it to the extent that I am. So insulation, electrical, heat systems, all that stuff. So we ran a new line, trenched all the way to the road, and this is where we're at. So for reference, here's the driveway. This thing is still broken. I don't know why it's still here. Trench comes this way, all the way out to the road, where thankfully on my side of the street is a power pole. And if I zoom in for you, you can see the conduit running up, and then there's an extra wire there that's going to run up to that transformer box up there. He's almost done. He needs to come back and hook up the last thing on the meter on the house, or on the shop. Keep calling it a house. He needs to hook up the last thing on the meter on the shop. He's like one breaker shy. He got the wrong one delivered today a couple times. So he's gonna come back tomorrow, pick his trailer up, and then also install the breaker. It takes a week for National Grid to come and actually hook up from the pole to the transformer. So that's obviously not his thing to do, because he is not the power company. They're gonna come and do that. Hopefully, I mean, it's Thursday, so by next Thursday, which would be great because we'll have lights inside and all that stuff by the end of next week. Total cost for this guy to do this, all up to code, obviously, it's like he's a licensed electrician, was $4,850. That includes running it to the pole, burying the trench, putting the meter on the box, and meter on the shop, and also the shutoff. So I priced it out to do it myself because it's something that I could have done, and material alone was going to be like $3,000, I think. So plus then I'd have to rent an excavator to do that, or borrow my friends or whatever. So there's all extra costs involved. It really was not that bad, all things considered, to have him do it. I'm sure it costs him less to buy the material, but that doesn't matter to me because I wouldn't have that access to cheaper equipment. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, my father-in-law are going to do the electric inside. So the insulation guy is nice enough to drop off his scissor lift tomorrow for me to use. He's like, I don't need it. You can use it over the weekend if it helps you get things done. So we're going to be up. My lights are coming on Monday, I think. But we're going to hang all the lights. We're going to run all the power up for the lifts as high as we can around the top of the building, because now we have to move them to the other side of the shop. And it's just going to be nice to have the scissor lift here. So super, super gracious of him to do that. His company is Lotze, L-O-T-Z-E, Insulation, super nice guy. If you're local, he was super communicative, happy to re-quote me when I changed my mind on some things, and just very responsive. So he'll be here Monday. Garage door is Tuesday or Wednesday is what they told me. And then installation guy will be back Wednesday to do the ceiling insulation, which is just blown in foam. or cellulose. So Monday, spray foam on the walls. Tuesday or Wednesday, garage door. Wednesday, ceiling insulation, which is blown in cellulose. And then by Thursday, we should have power, which means by Thursday night, I should be able to stand here with this building illuminated behind me. So it's Saturday, November 2nd. It's a little colder than it was a couple days ago. It's like 42 degrees outside. We're gonna start the electrical work. I really gotta get out of this echo. We're gonna start the electrical work inside the building today, but I talked to the spray foam guy and he said to do obviously all the exterior wiring first because it has to be behind the spray foam. Do that before he sprays, and then after he sprays, do all the interior stuff. That way, if I ever have to service it, I can pop a panel and work on it. So, plan for today, waiting on my father-in-law to show up, but I'm gonna put the outlet out here to plug in my truck because it's a diesel and we live in a obviously cold climate. So I wanna be able to plug it in while I'm parked out front here overnight because this is where I'm gonna end up parking most of the time. And then we're gonna put some light sconces up here and here just to like illuminate the front. I'm gonna try and get as much done today because Monday they're gonna insulate, so I won't be able to do anything in here because it's like a very, you don't wanna breathe it in. So Monday we'll insulate, and then either Monday night once he's gone or Tuesday while they're doing the garage door, I'll go up and I'll hang the rest of the lights up. And then Tuesday I'm also gonna do the exterior wiring that I have to do. That's like, or not exterior, but interior wiring that has to go over the foam. I'll do that Tuesday, Wednesday, hang up the power box on the wall, all that stuff. So today I'm also probably gonna do the light switch there. I think so. If not, we'll do that Tuesday, but I'm not sure. Slight change of plans because they put the header over the garage door already. I thought it was screwed in, but it's nailed in, so we can't remove it. I don't know if they're gonna spray foam above it, so we need to run the lift wires and the lift power and all of the conduit that's running, or all the power that's running down this side of the shop up and over before they come. So I have all the wire. We're just gonna go up there. We're gonna start hammering it up and getting it ready to cross over. Small little hiccup. So up here, I'm gonna hammer onto the bottom of this because the face of they're gonna put the metal on top of this. So as long as I'm behind the face of this, I'll have plenty. So we're gonna run this all the way down and over the ledger and then back down into the box. So I've run all the wire from the lifts along the top beam here. These aren't stapled yet because we are pulling the wire behind this. So we've got lift power, outlet on lift power. One of these is gonna go to the exterior socket and one of these is gonna go to all of the outlets that go along this wall. We've got 2 white wires in so far. One each is gonna go correspond with one of each of these, which are the ceiling power or ceiling lights. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gonna run to 4 separate breakers in the box. Very much overkill, but better safe than sorry. It's cold, it's 5 o'clock, it's getting dark. So, well, getting dark shortly. I'm gonna give you an update on where we're at. I stopped because I ran out of staples, but we've got power run over the garage door. We've got the exterior light boxes mounted. The lights are not mounted, so you saw me drill the hole to put the box up. We still have to wire the boxes in tomorrow. And then that's not crucial because we don't need the outside box. We just need the box in the wall. We don't need the light up for him to spray foam. We just need the hole in the wall so we don't have to do it later. But yeah, I ran out of staples and we need another box for the exterior outlet down below for the truck. The one we bought is just not right. So let me show you where we're at. So as you guys saw earlier, I've run all the wires up there that are behind where the wall is gonna go. And then I stapled the wires for the lights down. They come up over the top and they feed down to here. This is where the light switch is gonna be. This is all extra wire. And then the wires that we fed over, let me zoom in, come on. They all feed up over the garage door, and then I stapled them all the way down. So one of them is the exterior light for the sconce light, or whatever you want to call it. This one is an outlet power, so this will probably go somewhere around here. Depends on where they mount the lift. The garage door power. So, get you out of the sun. That second one, this guy, is another 12-2 wire. That's gonna be for the outlets that run along this wall. And also it's gonna be for the garage door power. So somewhere along here, there's gonna be power for the garage door. Figure that out. And then we've got 4 14-2 wires here, which is very overkill, that match these 4. So this is gonna be power from the box on the wall, and this is gonna be power from the switch to the lights. So those will run either up under the header and down into the box, or I'm gonna run them down and over into the bottom of the box. But either way, they're all gonna end up there. And that's gonna be all the lights. This is where I ran out of staples, but you can see we've got 8 wires coming down on this side. So we've got the 4 for the lights. We've got the wall outlets. We've got the other side of the wall sconce light thing here. This is the 12-2 that goes to the lifts that runs up along the perimeter over there. And then this is the 10-2 that goes to the lifts as well. So there's 8 wires that come down this side. 7 of them, well, I guess 8 of them will end up coming over, but these will all end up running along the wall to the power box, or the breaker box, which is gonna be here, once we tap into that tomorrow. So as far as stapling things to the wall, this is gonna get spray foamed over. There's just no avoiding it. I didn't really have enough access to hammer in the side. So these will be stapled down to probably right around here. And then I'm gonna coil them up out of the way so that once he does his spray foam, it will all be exposed around here on top of the foam. And then same with that side. I'm not gonna staple it against the wall any farther than it is for the same reason. So that will never be accessible once it's spray foamed. I'd have to chip away all the foam to get to it. But this stuff will be kind of out and workable. These are what I'm hanging the lights with. And you can see I got the screws that they actually use when they mount paneling like this, because it's already paint matched. Where is it? So it does come with a big washer that does not fit, but because this is a big flange, we don't need a washer on it. So I'm just gonna pop the washer off, hang 24 of these from the ceiling, and then I will take a carabiner and the lights that I got, which let me take one out of the box. The lights have this eye-ring on them, so I'll just hook that up to the carabiner. It'll self-level, and then it's just a regular 110 outlet, so I can plug it in, and it is a diffused LED. They call them UFO lights. They are intended for high bays, which this is. They are 19,500 lumen a piece. This is a 3,100 square foot building. It will have 24 of those, which is 468,000 lumen, 500,000 almost, worth of light in here. A lot of people that have this size of building have used 12 of those lights, and it's very bright. So I'm gonna have 24, which is also why we put it on bank switches, so I can shut some off if it's too bright or something like that. But you can never have too much light. I do technically have a second outlet up there, so if I ever wanted to, I can make 48 lights in the ceiling. I don't think that'll ever be an issue, but these are Amazon special Sunco lights. They were not cheap. 24 lights, I think, ran me like $600 or something like that. But they're LEDs, so they should, in theory, last for a very long time. Because if I have to replace it, I have to borrow one of those. I'm gonna hang 4 of them up tomorrow, and I'll hang the rest of them up on Monday when they get here, or Tuesday, so that they're all ready. And then by the end of the week, once we get power, then by the end of the week, once we get power, I can turn the lights on in here, which would be another huge milestone. So garage door will be closable, lights will be turn onable, and then we have the rest of the wiring to do. So that's gonna be it. I'm rambling again. This video is gonna be very long, so we'll pick you guys up tomorrow once we have the rest of the electrical done before spray foam. End of day Sunday, we are ready for spray foam. It's not gonna look like much, but we got the box hung. I will try to put a picture up here. If not, you'll see it once the foam is done in 2 days. We hung the box, then we took the box off so that it doesn't get spray foam on it. All the wiring is stapled up, coiled up. Everything is moved from the center of the shop, so let me show you. We'll start over here. Also, hello, a truck. So I've got all the wires coming down from the ceiling lights. Those come down through here, and then these are all the wires that go to the box. And I have everything labeled: 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, and then 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light. This will get spray foamed over, sadly, but I do have everything labeled on the end of the wires as well, so that we don't lose track of that. They're just gonna pull this aside when they spray, so it's not in the way. We've got the exterior outlet on, I'll show you that in a second. This is my wall outlets, and it's gonna be the garage door outlet that's here. This wire is exterior power, so it's in the box for the outside light. It's in the box for there, and it goes to the box for this outside light, which I think these look pretty nice. They will shine light both up and down, which is kind of cool. They're not really gonna light up the front of the building. It's just enough that if I'm backing a truck up in the darkness, I can see exactly where the garage door is. Over here, we've got all the power coming down that we ran over the door the other day, yesterday. So we've got our lift power. We've got the outlets on the lift that have a dedicated circuit. We've got the exterior lights. We've got the outlets that are gonna go, the one that I've talked about right there. And then we've got light 1, 2, 3, and 4 from the switch that are gonna go to the box. And then we just coiled everything up for now so that they can spray foam the wall. And then we'll pull this kind of forward and we'll run it along the unexposed or unspray foamed part of the wall. So like the cavity, this is what it will look like. The cavity made up, there will be 2 inches of spray foam here, but there's gonna be a gap. So we'll be able to run the wire all through here once they've spray foamed. But this is enough to get us ready for foam. And then this is enough wire to run over to the box, which you can see here. This is crooked for now just because it's loose. But we've got the pass through from the box outside. So we punch through the wall right there. And then this is 4-gauge wire with a ground wire. And that goes right into the box right here with all the breakers in it. So this is gonna be like the service corner. And then there's a piece of plywood and the box mounts to this wall. And then they're just gonna, we'll paint it white and then they're gonna put the white paneling against it. So that's there. It'll look much better when it's done. We've moved all of the stuff to the center, clear of the manhole so they can get in with the lift for the ceiling. And we've cleared the perimeter so that they can drive the lift all the way around, obviously except for that. Electrical is one of those things that you spend a lot of time working on it and it does not look like you've done a lot. It's kind of frustrating. Same with when you do electrical on like a VVT swap. It's the same, you'll spend a day wiring everything up and then nothing looks different. So it is a big milestone. Obviously we don't have power yet, hopefully by the end of this week. My plan, let me close this window. My plan is to wire the box up Tuesday or Wednesday. That way, because my lights will be here Monday, I can hang on the lights Monday or Tuesday, and then we can turn the lights on while we work in here because it's now daylight savings time. I don't know if we did it. Did we save daylight? But it's getting dark early, so I'd like to be able to turn lights on in here so that I can work. And once it's insulated, I can run a space heater, at least just for some warmth if it gets cold, while we do the rest of the electrical. And then while the guys are hanging up the paneling for the walls, we can also have the lights on, because once the door is in here, it's gonna get dark and all sorts of stuff. As you can see, it gets dark in here very easily. I'm gonna stop walking around. So that way we can have lights on while we work, and it'll feel nice, and we'll have lights on the outside and all sorts of stuff like that. We have spray foam. Look at that. All the way around. It really made it feel a lot smaller in here, which is insane because there's no walls up yet. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll give you guys a walkthrough real quick. They're coming back tomorrow so tomorrow's Tuesday, instead of Wednesday, to do the attic, so the blown in stuff, which means they're probably gonna take this away tomorrow. So it's like 4 o'clock right now, and thanks to daylight savings time, I have about an hour before it gets dark out. But I'm going to hang the lights up tonight. I got the rest of my lights from Amazon, so I gotta go up there and drill a bunch of hooks into the ceiling, which really shouldn't take too long. And I'm gonna hang the lights, plug them in. That way I can be done with the lift today. And yeah, but let me show you the spray foam. Crazy that it's green, but it makes it look so much smaller in here. It's probably not easy to capture on camera. They did do a really nice job. They came around so you can see where like it sprays, come on. You can see where it sprays over, and they came on and they scraped all of the foam off that was on the exterior face. So it's like a really nice finish, it's very professional. The guys were great. They did 2 inches on the wall, and then it's kind of got a weird texture to it. 2 inches on the wall, and then he also did 2 inches over the 2x4s. So this actually came out quite a bit. Sealed the edges really nicely, so all this is sealed up. They sealed across the foam that was exposed on the floor, because there was a foam from the concrete perimeter. That's all sealed up. They sealed everything up in there. So they're like, once the door is on here tomorrow, this will be essentially airtight, which is crazy. It looks really cool, but I'm gonna start going around and hanging up some lights. I'll take you guys with me, and I'll show you the process, and then I'll show you guys once I've got all the lights hung up. So here's what we're working with. We have a light with way too much extra cord, and then I have it on a carabiner. I'll show you on the next one what it looks like, but this is just drilled into the rafter stud that runs up here, and it's just plugged in, and this plug goes to one of the light switches down there. So I'm gonna rinse, repeat 24 times, and then I'm just gonna show you guys at the end because this takes a minute. So there's the hanging fixture on the ceiling, just goes into the hook on the light, clip it in, plug the light in, done. Actually gonna do a little morning of update because it got so dark in here. If you caught my Instagram story that night, I was literally working by the light on the drill just because I didn't want to go down and go get a light from the garage. But I got 20 of the 24 lights hung up before I realized that Amazon only sent me 20 hooks for the ceiling. It's supposed to be 3 packs of 8, which would be 24. And every pack had one pack had 6, one pack had 7, and however the math works out, the other pack had 7 or something. But I'm 4 hooks shy, so I didn't do the center 4. And also one of the lights that I got didn't have the whatever hook fixture for the top of it. So I ordered another hook fixture that will be here Wednesday, so tomorrow. I'm hoping that I can convince him to leave this here until like Thursday morning so that I can throw that up there. But let me show you what it looks like. So I've got the front 6 in, and then I did a circle around the outside. So I've got all of these looped in. These are all in, and then we go back up and over. So all I have left are 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. Once I have them, it's literally a 15-minute job for me to go and throw those four in. I gotta move all the stuff out of the center here, but that's easy. They're coming back today. They're gonna start doing the foam in the ceiling. I believe it was supposed to be Wednesday, but yesterday he said today, so I don't know if he's actually coming back today or not, but garage door is also scheduled for today, and it's like 7:50 in the morning, so I would assume they'd be here shortly. The Mennonite guys typically show up around 8. The spray foam guys will probably be here around 9. So we'll see. Door was Tuesday or Wednesday, but Warren told me I was on the schedule for Tuesday. And the garage door guy, or the foam guy yesterday said he'd be here today for the ceiling and he'd work around the garage door. So I think he is actually going to be here today. So then once they do that, once they do the garage door, I can start running my wiring around the building for the outlets, and then we're gonna wait for them to come and do the paneling on the inside, and then, which is supposed to be next week, unless they get a rain day, which they're not going to because the weather looks too good, but we should be finished by next week.
Smile, Jared!
You look great. So as you guys saw, this is going to be a test for the Echo, but insulation in the ceiling is done and the garage door is installed. There's a couple problems with the door, my problems that I have to fix, but the first one, flip you around, is it needs power, which there's a plug right there, but that is switched power. I need constant, so I'm gonna have to run conduit down to a switch box. The other problem is that my lights are right over the track. I was under the impression this was going to be a side mount motor, not a center motor. So I'm gonna just essentially move those over a rib, and same with that one. So all of them will probably be over a rib, and I'll just move that one down there over one. So they're all in line. For now, the door operates manually, so I'll pull it up in a second, but I can lift it up and open it. It takes 2 hands to close it, but it is nice because it is a MyQ system. So I can control it from my phone, but it's also this nice like industrial up, down, stop thing, which I love. So it's currently unhooked, like I said, so it's rope operated at the moment. And it doesn't have any locks, like slide over locks. So I gotta buy some and knock those out. But from the outside, it looks sick. So the inside of the door is white. And then once we go outside, the door is black. This really gets you a full look. Let me step back a bit more. This gets you a full look at what the building looks like. There's my F-250 for scale, and it's not a small truck, so puts into perspective a little bit. It looks sick. It finally looks like a finished building with the door on it. The next step is to run the wiring around the inside on like at human level, which I'm probably gonna do tomorrow. It's supposed to be really nice out. And then we're waiting for the builders to come and put metal on the inside. So 2 more things to do. Really, once the metal's up, we gotta put outlets in, but after that, it's pretty much ready to move in. So by the end of next week, I'm hoping it is functional. I should have power by Thursday, which is 2 days from now. And we can turn the lights on and do all that stuff, because it does get dark in there now. But you can just tell with the insulation, like it's probably 75 degrees outside right now and sunny. And in here it's maybe 65, nice crisp. Yeah. So you can already tell the insulation is working. The door is insulated also. And I misspoke about the attic insulation. It is not cellulose, it is fiberglass. So it's a little better insulation if it's sprayed right. So this building is gonna retain heat or AC very well. So I've got a bit of catching up to do for you guys. It's Friday today, Friday morning. Last we talked, the insulation was done and the garage door was on. And the next steps were that my father-in-law and myself were gonna do we'll call it very rough in electrical. So we're not gonna really do any outlets or anything until the walls are up, but we need to pre-run all the wire that's gonna go behind the walls. So we've been doing that for the last 2 days. It's kind of a slow process, so there's not much to film, but I'm gonna show you where we're at because we've gotten quite far and we just have a couple things left to wrap up today, probably maybe tomorrow. And then I do have one big update that just happened. So I'm waiting for my father-in-law to actually do it, but let's update you. So we've got the panel box mounted and we've run, these are the 4 wires for the lights. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we've got 3 more. So this is exterior lights. This is outlets. This is outlets on the lift, and this is the lift power. So these are all run. I did my best to make this like very neat. We're gonna end up zip tying all these together. Breaker is off still, so even if there was power, there's nothing in here to shock me. And these breakers are all loaded up, ready to go. That means the entire south and east wall of the shop are powered up. So we've got the lift wires that run down, we've got the outlet wires and the light wires and all that. Runs under here. This is gonna get tucked over when they put the wall in. And then we ran it on some, I took 1.5-inch conduit hangers. And I will be zip tying everything together here. Just to carry the wire, because there's a lot of cabling and I don't want to staple it on top and then accidentally drill through it. So now it's behind it, it'll be safe. So we did that, ran it under, it comes over, and then that's where it tees into the stuff that goes up and over the garage door. You'll see these every so often, random wires that are sticking out. Let me go to one that is accessible or finished already, but comes back down the other side here. We'll get to that in a minute. And then, as you'll see, this is what it should look like. The wires come up the wall, and then there's gonna be a 2x4 right here, and then the wires will stick out over the 2x4 through the wall, and that's where the box will be. So everywhere that there is a set of wires sticking out is where an electrical box is gonna go. So like a 4-plug outlet box will be here. I will not ever be using every outlet on it. I understand like if I plugged something into every single one, it would be way too much power. Most of these outlets are gonna be empty, but I don't ever want to be working somewhere and then have a need for an outlet. So I did this in my last garage too, and I ran way more outlets actually than this on one circuit, including the welder, and I never had an issue. So looks excessive, but it gives me the option of plugging outlets in wherever I want. So that's why we did it that way. I don't want to run a bunch of dedicated circuits because it's unnecessary. And then over on this side, which is going to be the west and north wall, we have to run not as much wire, but a good bit of wire still. So the plan so here's the garage door. Plan for here is 2, maybe 3 4-post lifts for car storage. So like when I'm not working on the race cars, they can go up and I can tuck under other cars underneath. That takes 3 car space and turns it into 6 car space, which is huge. But for that, we need outlets for those. Those are just 110, so we're gonna run one circuit dedicated to 3 outlets, because you'll never run a lift alongside another lift. You'll just like bring one up, bring one down, whatever. So there will be a dedicated line for all 3 lifts. And then we've obviously got the outlet 12-2 line coming already. And then we're going to be running probably 2 dedicated lines of 110 to the back corner for any pumps or anything that have to go into the floor system, the heat pump setup. And then we also need, which are what these breakers are, the big double throws on this side. We have to run 6-3 wire down the side of the building because we need 240 60 amp wire coming out the outside of the building. And then we also likely need one on the inside of the building for a backup electric boiler. So 2 wires there, sorry, 4 wires going down, 2 6-gauge and 2 12-gauge. We have 1 more wire here to run for 12-gauge for the lifts, and then we have to run welder wire, which is going to be a 50 amp 10-2 down, and I'm going to put outlets like 1 here, 1 there, probably 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, just so I have like 6 welder spots that I can plug into. The concept with the welder outlets is the same. I'm never going to be running out like every outlet with a welder. I have 2 welders, well 3 welders, but I'm 1 person, I work in here alone. So what's gonna happen is I'll have a welder that lives by the lifts, so it's dedicated for that. I'll have a welder at the fab area, and the other welder is a MIG, so that'll just be quick touch and go. I will never have all 5 or 6 or however many 220 outlets powered up, because it's just unrealistic, and I don't wanna run like 5 dedicated circuits because it gets very expensive. So this is already overkill enough as is. I just want to make sure we get as much run underneath the metal of the building as possible, because it'll look a lot cleaner with just boxes. Speaking of lights, this is temporary. So these are, before we go outside, I'm going to be running a face mounted box. This cheap plastic box it's just not good. But for now, so we can turn lights on in here, I have mounted my switch panel so that we can have light while we work inside. We'll obviously keep all the other breakers off, or like when we tee into the box, we'll kill the main power. But we can have lights while we run cabling and stuff like that. So this will be gone. It's just here for the next week, or until they're done doing the interior paneling. But I left a lot extra because we're gonna have to stick wires out just like we did with the outlet boxes. So that's why this looks like a mess. It's not permanent, I promise. But we'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4 banks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 only has 1 row in it, and obviously the center of those is nothing, but it'll be plenty of light. So let's go outside. So sorry if it's windy, but you can see the meter is in. We're at 0.00000 kilowatt hours. This thing is brand new. They have their tamper tag on it. This is the 200 amp shutoff I just have a carabiner on it so the door doesn't slam around. This is not flipped yet, so there's no power from here into the building, and then the 200 amp switch in the building is not flipped yet. So power ends right here for now. Once my father-in-law gets here, we'll flip the switch here, we'll flip the switch inside, and we'll do an inaugural light turn on. And here we have power on the other end, hooked up to the transformer box. So they just did essentially that piece of conduit up and tied it into the transformer, so. All right. Oh, nothing. We got nothing on box 1. So the issue was not the switch or anything, it was just the breaker like somehow wasn't tripped fully. But everything works now, we got all the lights, and then whenever I get a high lift in here, I'll come in and put the center lights on, and there's a missing row of lights along the back. But we have power, and then outside, so if I cover there's a little sensor here. So at night, when it's dark out, we'll have light on the side of the building, which will be really nice. Same with this one. So once it's dark, I'll come back out here, I'll show you, take a picture or whatever, film a little video on it. But it should be nice for backing the trailer up. Right now we're trying to figure out what wire we need for the heat pump. We know it's 6-gauge, but we don't know if it needs 6.2 or 6.3, if it all has to go outside, if it all has to go inside. So I'm gonna do a little research, and maybe we'll pick this up on Monday when I can get some feedback from the supplier. So apparently I filmed everything yesterday in 2x slow-mo, so there's no audio, so I'm gonna refilm it this morning, and we've done some extra work, but I'll catch you up to where we're at. So the builders left yesterday afternoon, and as you can see behind me, all of the walls are done. And that means all of the building is done. So actually the inspector is coming today to sign off, hopefully, on final inspection and like certificate of occupancy. And he should be here within the hour, I'm hoping. But my father-in-law and I have been doing wiring since yesterday morning. Over there. So we've got This entire, so the south and east walls are all wired up fully. The outlets are live. Actually, I'm charging my radio at the moment, which is super nice because now we can charge tools and stuff in here. And then we've got, coming down this wall, we just finished all of these outlets. So these are all wired in. So hopefully the banding is not as bad in this, but we've got all of the 110s run down this wall. So we've got, this is just a regular set of outlets like those, 12 to 20 amp, everything. And then there's 1, 2, and 3 singular 2 outlet boxes, and those are for 4-post lifts since the ones I spec'd out only require 110. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4-post lifts, and then over here, mind the mess, but we've got the fab corner, which is pretty much gonna start from this joint control line and run up this joint control line because the lift post will be here and there and there and there. So this will be taken up by the lift. This will all be workbench, but we've got 220 plugs here, there, and there's one right over there by the window for welders, so that way I can put the welder wherever I really want it to go. This still needs a box, but this is just gonna be coiled up in case we ever need a 6.3 power wire over here, say for like a backup electric heater or something. And then up here we've got power dedicated for the fan coil units, which are like mini splits, so those will go along the top whenever I buy them. And then down here is a spare 20 amp 110 volt in case we need any pumps for the floor or anything like that. So that's where we're at. This is still just hanging. I did order lifts last night. I ordered, they're by a company called Advantage out of I think they're out of Ohio. They're super stout lifts. They had a buy one, get one half off deal for Black Friday, so I jumped on it. I gotta pick them up in Ohio, so that'll probably be a couple weeks or something like that. But the other thing is we plugged the garage door in, so we can bring that up and down now. And that's about where we're at. We're going to be finishing the outlet boxes in a little bit here. We got to wire up to the breaker box over there to fix all the wires that are just hanging out. And then we're gonna clean up. I'm gonna bring the race car in here. We're gonna park it, take some cool pictures, and that will be the end of this episode because this is already gonna be a couple hours long. So the lifts and stuff like that will be in the next episode. Whenever they show up, we're gonna do kind of a building the inside of the shop thing. So that will be episode 2, but for now, we're gonna finish some wiring and I'll show you guys when we'll do like a cleaning time lapse, I guess. So a slight change of plans. It's much later now, you can see it's dark outside, it's like 4:30. It's not clean in here yet. The car is not in here yet. It's still a mess, has not changed at all. What has changed is that a friend of mine has one of these and I managed to get it. So the rest of the ceiling lights are up, all of them. And then I've finished wiring most of the panel box. So we've got the 4 feeds in, plus the welder feed. They're all wired in. The welder actually has power, or the welder outlets have power. And then the lift 110 outlets, so these guys, and then the west and north outlets, which are these 4 gang ones all the way around, have power. And we measured all the way to the back corner, there's no voltage drop. So it's 118 volts there, and it's 118 volts here. So we're not getting voltage drop across the lines, which is really nice. And then you'll see I have these labeled off for now. This is the fan coil outlet, and this is the spare utility 110 volt. They are plugged in the back, like I put faceplates over them. And then we took this panel out, or this breaker, because I need to put a 60 amp one in. So these will both be 60s. Those are not run yet. The holes are there, but those I'll run those probably tomorrow or later tonight. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow because I need to shut the power off to tap into this. So what I'm gonna do tonight is measure what I need for conduit now to run up and over to the garage door so that I can run a garage door opener. And then I'm gonna run to Lowe's and grab that. And then tomorrow we will clean this up and we'll put the car in here, and that'll be the end of the episode. None of this project has been like as it was planned. There's delays here, delays there. So the building inspector came today. The building is inspected and good to go, but, and I feel like an idiot because everybody told me I would need one. I need an electrical inspection, which on the sheet he gave me, the box was not checked, which was a little weird to me, but I was like, maybe because it's an outbuilding, pole barn on my private property, they don't really care. So I have to call, well, I did call and I left some messages today to have somebody come out and inspect it. It's not gonna stop me from moving my equipment in, but you will see that the wires that were coming down from the ceiling for the lift have been cut. I've put wing nuts on them and I've terminated them in the box, and I'm gonna put faceplates over them, which is the proper way to do it. The town inspector said he could come back and do the electrical inspection. He looked at the box over there, the panel box, and he goes, I'm really not worried. So, you know, if he needs to come back and I have him do that, then that's fine. He just said things like the wires hanging out of the ceiling obviously had to be capped, and any open boxes, like I have the one box over there I need to get a faceplate for, that wouldn't fly. So I'm just tidying up some things, and then once obviously the lifts get here, we'll drop new wires down. We'll hardwire the lifts in probably to the box, or I'll put an outlet up there. I'm not entirely sure yet. So I'm gonna take some measurements for conduit. I'm gonna run to Lowe's, and it is getting cold in here, even though it's colder outside. It's actually holds its heat pretty well. But I think tonight I'm gonna stop at putting the 2 blanking plates up on the 2 remaining open ports and the 1 open wall or box on the wall. And then tomorrow I'll hang up the conduit and run that over to the garage door. Okay, that's gonna be a wrap for tonight. I'll show you where we're at. I did a quick dust mop of everything, and then I have a mop bucket and a mop, so tomorrow we're gonna start in one corner, we're gonna mop our way back after we vacuum out all these cracks in the floor. I'm wondering if I should fill them with caulk so they don't fill up with dust and stuff. They're currently full of concrete dust from when they cut it, but I know when I'm grinding or whatever, stuff's gonna fall on them and then they'll get nasty, so I'm probably going to see if I can fill them, but here's what it looks like so far. It's very like dusty white, but most of the garbage is gone. Everything's pretty cleaned up, just that table's left and the zero turn, which will go back in the garage, but looking pretty good. Floors are cleaned. We've got most of the junk out of here. I still got the high lift, and then this corner is a bunch of garbage and stuff that has to go, but floors are squeaky clean at the moment. Very big difference after they were cleaned to how shiny they are now. So it was really dusty, but now we're looking pretty good. But shop is done. It's time for the end of the video update. So we got the box all finished wired. Everything is cleaned up. These 6-gauge wires were so hard to bend into the box, but obviously power's live. I'm charging this thing so that I can hang up some banners tomorrow. And brought the race car in here just because it looks cool. And I figured we could kind of reminisce in the first car in the shop, now that it's done, is this. I may or may not also have to do some barber prep for this coming weekend because my buddy Wolfie and I are going down to Alabama with this car, so I gotta do a little once over, add a passenger seat type thing. But yeah, so tomorrow, which obviously will not be this video, today will be the end of this video, but tomorrow we're gonna start moving stuff in. My neighbor is gonna bring over his tractor with a forklift on it, and we're gonna just like move my toolboxes in and stuff like that. I'm not gonna hard mount anything to the walls because the final inspection for electric isn't done. And if the guy wants to be a stickler, then, and like I've mounted anything to the walls, then it becomes a real pain. So we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna stop walking around. But we got the garage door hardwired in, so it no longer shuts off. I ran conduit up, which was a pain. But yeah, conduits run for the garage door. I'm walking around again. I'm just gonna sit on the car. And everything is good. Everything is wired up. The exterior box for the heat pump has been wired in, and it's a disconnect, so it's just disconnected for the time being. Heat pump is here, but we're not gonna install it in this episode. I need a manifold, I need some other stuff, so that'll be part of the next one. And we'll finally turn the floors on, which will be nice. The water in here is not drying very quickly because it's just cold. It's probably like 55 in here, and the floors, I'm sure, like colder than that. Yeah, so I owe you guys a final tally, which is gonna take me a second because I have to go through and add up all of the receipts that I have for electrical stuff, but it'll be 2 seconds for me. So we'll touch base on where we left off with all the other parts. I'll do like a full walkthrough one more time, and then I'll add on the electrical in the end, and that'll be the full cost of this build. And I talked to some people, and the echo gets better when you start putting stuff in the building. So I'm hoping once I put some cars in here, the workbenches, the lifts, stuff like that, it becomes a little more bearable. So give me a minute, I'll tally that stuff up right now, and then I'll pick you guys back up. Okay, the math has been done. So we're gonna start from the top and work our way bottom. I'm gonna try and be a little quieter so it doesn't echo as much in here, maybe. So I also tallied how many trips I made to each hardware store or whatever, like Lowe's, Home Depot, and then Ace Hardware. So site prep, 21,500. Building, 64,000. Extra gravel, $522. Heated floor, PEX, and insulation, 10,200. Concrete, 26,500. Insulation, 15,000. Tinning the interior, which is the metal, 16,800. Electrical from here to the street is 4,850. Interior electric, so everything once you come like through the wall, so panel box and around, $5,951.77. Lights, so both the interior lights and the exterior light sconces, $832.81. And then I threw a miscellaneous in there of $500 because I bought like hooks for the lights in the ceiling, and I'm sure I've bought little onesie twosie things here and there that I missed. But so total for this video, I'm not including the heat pump outside or anything like that, or like the lifts or whatever, that'll be covered, and then maybe I won't cover that, but I just want to cover what we've done in this episode and what it's cost me. So the total, somehow it came out to didn't come out to a perfectly round number. I'm not sure how that happened, but so the total, if you weren't tallying up while we were going, total cost to be able to park a car in here and be finished, $166,657.58. For reference, that's not much less than I paid for my first house that we just sold. And it's kind of jarring to look at that number, but hopefully this space brings me lots of good opportunities, and I know once the lifts are up, we're gonna just get right to work, and we're gonna make some cool stuff. We got some cool content coming your way. 500 horsepower build. I'm picking up a car that's gonna be my own shop build. We got the race NC. We've got this car is gonna get a refresh. So a lot of good work coming down the pipeline that having lifts will make infinitely easier. So the next time you'll see me will probably be a review of the coilovers on this race car. We got some Meister R's on here. And then after that, we'll be putting the lifts up and stuff like that. And the shop like setup video while we move stuff in, build some workbenches and things like that. So if you're still here, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry about the echo. It will get better. And I hope you guys like this. Any questions, leave them down below. And see you in the next episode.